All right. Hey, do a little voice test to make sure I can hear you.
Let's do a little voice test.
All right. So I'll do this. All right.
Yep.
All right. And we're on. What's good, homie?
Oh, what's going on?
It's
Going
going, man.
on?
It's going. How are you?
I'm good, bro. Finally got my day off.
I feel
Checking up on
that.
some football too, because I have my fantasy team going.
How's that?
It's going all right.
Hey, you want to check this? So this is Rochelle's mom actually got me this for Christmas.
Okay. What is that?
This is
What is
premium
going on in here?
roast and toast. Okay, ready? So this is I only have a little bit of this left. So there's that, so I can drink it, right? It's nice.
Nice.
But what you can also do with it, yeah. See, this also for the guys, for the guys. Sorry, I'm not to be sexist or anything. For the listeners on just doing audio right now, I have a cup that my girlfriend's mom got me. It's a
Yep.
mug
A
for
big cup.
coffee and whatever you want to
Mhm.
drink, but it's also a little bong. If you'd like to see it, go check out the YouTube channel, right?
I seen the dot right there. I'm like that little hole right there. I'm like, how is this working? Until you let it go, I'm like, oh,
Okay.
no, I see.
I cleaned it and everything just for the show. It's gonna be my new drinking cup for the show.
That is crazy. And nothing falls out. Yeah, it's like perfect.
Yeah, nothing falls out or anything. But then I also have, so we're gonna be talking about aliens today, and it
Let's
this
go.
is this is exactly why it's gonna be so long, because of this one alien part. We're gonna do that right at the end, so we can talk about everything else. But I got my little bong right here, and I'm gonna be smoking
Uh-huh.
a fat toke out of this one right before we talk about aliens.
Let's get it.
All right. So, what's new, man? What's new in life?
What's new? Yeah. Just the music thing. I mean, it's been moving. I said yesterday on Instagram, I just put out there, right? Like
Mm.
whatever you feel like doing, if you feel like it's right to you, just do it. And then
Yeah.
you'll see what happens, right? And like for me, like music, I've always had that feeling. I said that so many times. Like I think in grade 9, I always said like I like rap. I'm
Yeah.
like I'm not a rapper. Like I'm not, all the
Yeah. Yeah.
stereotypical stuff. Like I'm not a rapper, but like I like rap. And
Yeah.
everybody in school would be like, if you want to rap, just do it. Like that would be cool. Da, da, da. And I would always hold myself back. I'm like I'm not a rapper. But then like,
Right.
because all that
But
stuff
I'm
that
not a
I went
rapper.
through, like to move around, but I'm not a rapper. But like all that stuff I went through, like just like through life, and I'm like, well, why not? Like I have stuff that I want to say, and I just want to put it out there, and I
Yeah.
always just get like good positive feedback from things because I actually have something to say,
Right.
like not to look at other people because everybody has their own way of approaching stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like they do things for certain reasons, but like for me, it's just because I really like to make music, like write stuff and sit down
Yeah.
and let it out. Like that's for
Express
me.
yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So like everything that we talked about that a little bit in the last episode, it's like if you feel like it's right and I feel like the moment came where I have time now to record again, I still
Yeah.
want to record, so why not just do it?
Exactly.
And it's been awesome. Like one of my he became a friend now, Vinny Chase.
Vinny Chase.
He
Okay.
makes music in New York.
Oh,
And he
nice.
had a record deal with LA Reid. He made a song with like French Montana that was
Oh
out
shit.
there. And he's been following me because I had a podcast with him actually when I did the Paradise podcast like
Yeah.
three
Yeah.
years ago. I got him on there, right? And like ever since then, he's been following me. And like I said, just uploaded some songs like I've been on Instagram, and
That's pretty
boom, like just
sick.
out of nowhere, I see that he listened to it, and he's like, "Bro, that like that song is fire." Da, da, da. Like what I'm saying, he
Nice.
commented on it and stuff, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you don't even. I forgot even like to that he's following me really because we haven't really talked like that.
Yeah.
But then when I had a chance, I just started DMing him again too. I'm like, "Well, I appreciate that, like if we want, if we could work sometime, da da da." But it's just like that natural thing that like you don't really try to force anything. It just happens. I feel like that's how things really happen for the best. And I think you relate with that too, because
Oh,
like I mean, I
100%.
feel like you always had a passion to go out and do something,
Yeah.
and now I feel like this is coming to you more naturally. This podcast, right? Like you
Yeah.
feel like you
Yeah.
can be more on it. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. I was just gonna actually say that. I was gonna wait until you finish, but like, no, exactly. Like you say, like when you feel like the time is right, like, and you just go for it, it feels better. You don't feel rushed. You don't feel anything. Like it's on your
right,
terms. You know what I
right,
mean? And that's what I felt like with like when I did YouTube and Twitch and all that stuff. Like I felt like I rushed into it,
right.
right? And so I didn't really think about the like all the time I had to put into it. You know what I mean? I had no problem
Yeah,
putting in the time. It's just I didn't have time to put in the time. You know what I
right,
mean? Because I was working
right,
all the
right.
time.
Exactly.
So, and that's what this is nice about this. Like I told you before, like every Sunday. You know what I mean? That's what I told my
Yeah,
my other guy Kevin. I told him like, yo,
right.
like every Sunday I'd love to just sit down for like an hour. You know what I mean? Even more, because obviously like we just keep talking. Sit
Hmm.
down and just talk, and like, it's so easy because you had that day off. Usually I think he has that day off also, so it just works
Right,
out perfectly, right? So and like
right.
I'm happy with that. I'm not like, oh man, I wish I can just like do record more often, but no. I'm doing what I'm doing now. It's working, so I
Yeah,
gotta
it's working. Yeah.
chill.
And you're probably figuring out new things as you're going along, like, and that's what makes it fun, right?
Exactly, like the whole sharing the screen with you now, man.
Mhm. Yeah.
We're definitely gonna
Wait,
need that
did you ever see
because
the old Joe Rogan podcast, like the first episode where it's just Skype calls?
yeah, that's how I kind
Right?
of
Like that
feel.
was just Skype. Right. Like because everybody has their moments. Like that was his moment at that time.
Yeah,
He went up to do whatever he did, and like just for everybody else. Like when I
exactly,
record
man.
here, like shoot, I even remember recording in my car. Like I don't really care that I recorded in my car because I wanted to record and it
Right?
sounded nice and it worked for me. I
Yeah,
didn't care. Like if I have to record in the studio, that's fine too. But I don't really care to do that because that's not right now. Like if my
yeah,
life
yeah.
goes that way where I can end up recording in studios, okay, cool. But since I like to do it, I can do it anyway. That makes me happy because that's what I feel like doing, right? It's all about that feeling that you get, right? Like
Of
that's the
course,
most important thing. Not to ignore that feeling that you have.
exactly. Like you say, like to ignore it. That's kind of actually funny how you say it because well, what was like the first episode we recorded? What was it? Like when was it? Mamba Day,
It's a
right? So
long
like
day.
it was Mamba Day or
Oh,
like
right, right.
Kobe's birthday. So
Mamba
like
Day.
so that's when
Coincidental, right? And it's
ex-
just like, right. But it worked out perfectly, right?
exactly that was my like wake up call. Like yo, you gotta do something, right? Like this is the perfect time to
Yeah,
like do all this stuff.
right.
Um, but yeah, bro.
Well, let's
So
go, bro.
I was gonna ask you something, not ask you something, tell you something. So new president, who this? Like, how do you feel about Joe Biden winning?
Bro, it's crazy because like when I said it at first, right? And then what it really broke down was like everything was Trump, 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 Trump. You see, the red hats, da da
Yeah,
da, easy win for him. But you see a total switch that like America's not who we thought it was.
yeah,
Like America is that you see what you see, right?
yeah,
The image and all that stuff, because Trump's the one that's promoting, doing rallies, doing hats. Biden didn't have all that. So it didn't
right.
mean that people didn't support him. It's just because the Trump supporters were louder.
Yeah,
But then
yeah,
really what it
exactly.
came down to was the reality of the fact that people have to vote. And when people went out to vote, then Biden got the votes, right?
Yeah,
That's what it
yeah,
came down to. And I think the feeling of it is that there is the switch actually. Like when you got to see Biden on stage
yep,
with Kamala Harris,
yeah,
you feel a different energy. Like it's not like oh okay new president whatever. You can feel the sense that people do feel like there is a change, like there's a
yeah,
relief,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Exactly. That's you heard.
And this is coming from me that I didn't know who I wanted to vote for, right? Like I
Yeah,
wasn't really there was a little bit positive and negative on each side, but
Yeah.
you do feel it once it actually happens, right? Like I think everybody did.
What I was gonna say too was who was it that I think he's a football player. He was on CNN. He was crying because like he was saying like you could there's now that
Yeah, I
relief.
seen that.
You know what I mean? Who was that? What's his name again? Vaughn
That's not a
something.
football player. Yeah, Vaughn. Hey, he was a football player before.
I
If
think he
you
was
know
a
that,
football
I
player
didn't even
before.
know that. I didn't even know that. Okay. I know who you're talking about though. I got his name here because I had that link actually saved when that happened. Van
Oh, nice.
Jones?
Van Jones. Yeah, Van
Yeah,
Jones. I'm pretty sure he's a football player.
could have been. Hey, I didn't even know that. Learned something new.
um, but yeah, when he was talking about like how and he's like crying about like how like kind of safe he starts to feel now. You know what I mean?
Oh
And he's
yeah.
like, in my head, I was kind of like, that's very true. Like, that's actually something I was gonna ask. Like, what does Trump losing mean to the country, and what does Biden winning mean to the country? Like, what do you think?
Biden. Man, I think the big thing is it depends who you are in
Mm-hmm.
America. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
realized. Because like
True. Yeah.
I mean, let's just be real. I talk to like white people that
Yeah.
live out here their whole life, and they have a certain perspective of America. That the guy even talked to me about at work, where he's like, "I'm white, I'm old, I
Yeah.
believe in Trump,"
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
like, "I'm not lying to you." They feel like it's a threat that Biden won, that
Oh.
he's going to do something different to America. Like this shouldn't have happened. Trump losing is going to cause turmoil in the country because we still like, bro, it's crazy. There was a comparison. I think my sister brought it up too.
Mm-hmm.
The Confederate flag, if you know how
Yeah.
that came
Yeah.
about, right? How that whole thing and the Confederate flag is still raised in certain places in America, right? Like
Yeah. The
people still
South usually,
believe
right?
in that in the South, right?
Yeah.
They're saying that the Trump flag is going to be the next Confederate flag. Like
That's true.
Trump had supporters that loved him so much that they're going to they still have some people they still have his flag out even though
Yeah.
he lost. They still have the thing in the grass like showing Trump 2020.
Yeah.
They like such a supporter, they want to like prove to people that they've made a mistake and Trump was actually a very great president,
Yeah.
right? So yeah.
Yeah, no, no, I was just gonna say, do you remember how like we had that conversation of there's a difference between like uh following Trump because of his because being a Republican versus following Trump because of the way he kind of like what he represents.
Sure, sure. Yeah,
This
yeah.
kind of proves exactly 'cause the fact that the Trump flag has now replaced the Confederate flag.
And they're really saying that. Like, I mean, people still wave it because it's like they believe in that. But you're saying it's like because of that whole Republican thing, like they want to just
Exactly. So now this is kind of
tone
like a
down on that.
mask to put on. You can just
Mm-hmm.
be like, I'm just a
Right,
Trump fan.
right.
You know what I mean? Like even though I
Mm-hmm.
like I believe in these older ways and like you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
what the Confederate flag like means and stuff.
yeah.
I'm not gonna show it because there's so much controversy behind it. I'm just gonna rock a Trump flag. You
Right,
can't say anything about a Trump flag.
right. Pro-Trump supporters
Yeah, pro
yesterday
Trump
came to
supporters.
Washington D.C. Remember? Yesterday, I don't know if you read that in the news.
I actually just saw something about that. How there's like they're
Pro-Trump
fighting,
supporters
right?
came to Washington D.C. to promote Trump that they still are with him.
Yeah,
Like hundreds of thousands of people came all the way down there just to show that they still support him.
yeah.
Right? There's just gonna be those type of people.
It
So
became violent, right?
I don't know if it became violent. Maybe it did for sure. Like they're, you could tell how they've been. But like you said, right? Like so, the question was, right? Him losing,
Yeah,
like people are worried that it's gonna cause more drama in the country because there's still people that believe in him. Like
which
when
is what
George
they.
Bush wasn't president
Yeah, yeah,
anymore,
yeah.
you didn't see people like, "Well, I still want to support
No,
Bush." Like,
no, not at
you don't
all.
even hear about Bush anymore, right?
Yeah,
And then
like
went on to
obviously you'd probably
Obama,
hear
and
it here and there.
right. But this is bigger, and
Different,
I think
yeah,
it's the way how Trump had set himself up to be, and who he is. I mean, you got to remember too, we're still a little bit younger than the older generation from the 80s and the
yeah,
70s,
yeah,
seeing Trump be who he is, right? This
yeah,
businessman who was on like David Letterman shows
yeah,
and talking about becoming a president at some point or possibly the mayor of New York. And,
yeah.
The apprentice, the older people that just watched him to be who he is, they have like an attachment to him. He's not just somebody that appeared as a president and disappeared after 4 years, right? It's crazy. But the thing about Biden, like you asked me too, for him winning, I feel
Hmm.
like that's just that just shows that spark that we kind of need that change, and we need to understand what does the country want, right? If
Yeah.
he won, there's something that people want, and we want that change. So it's really a lot of pressure on Biden. Biden's
Yeah.
ran for president, right? And he hasn't gotten that chance until now. He
No. Yeah.
has extra pressure on him now. He's like, okay, well, now you actually won after
So
so
what are you
many
gonna
years
do?
of being in the post, right? What are you gonna do? So a lot of even black people too, right? I'll tell you, like they're over here like, hey, we're the reason why he won
Yeah.
because we really believe in him. So
Yep.
he better do something for us. And
Oh,
that's tough
100%.
because we talked about that before, right? Presidents don't have that strong of a push on everything in the country, right?
Exactly.
So how much can he actually legitimately do to help within these 4 years? It's gonna be something, man.
I heard I heard that he should that what him and Kamala should do is they should look at all the people that are in jail and are still in jail because of the crime bill that Biden like signed off for
Oh yeah. They did even talk about it, right?
and right their wrongs.
They could,
You know what I mean? But
and they should.
if Trump is going if people are afraid that Trump is going to pardon some of these people like these crooks,
Yeah,
then Biden should be pardoning these people that deserve to be pardoned. Like in a sense, like do what Trump was trying
yeah,
to do, but do it in a good way.
but in a good way. Yeah,
That could be something, right? And it's
and what was cool to see that? Yeah, go ahead. My bad.
no. Go ahead. I'm gonna go
It
with
was
something else
just that
after.
Kamala thing where you said that video proved a lot too. That it's not like somebody arrogant there. That Trump, like you know how Trump always came out and he's like, "I'm making my statement. Nobody can tell me otherwise." He
Yeah,
would
yeah,
fire people around him if they would say something else.
yep.
Well, Kamala, as the vice president, is coming out saying that we know that was wrong, and I've talked to Biden about it, and we do want to make some sort of change about it. Doesn't that make you feel more comfortable that they're acknowledging the
Oh
whole
yeah,
situation? They
oh yeah,
know that it's out in the public and they're gonna talk about it and they want to make something out of it, not just hide it. Like,
exactly.
you know what I mean? Like
And like,
that goes far, you know?
oh yeah, and like you said, like because they're talking about it, like they didn't talk about it much during the like during the campaigns and everything, right? Because they're kind of like,
Yeah.
I think it to them because like remember that whole Ice Cube thing we were talking about, and I told you that
Yeah.
the Democrats said like wait till after the election because we can't do anything now. But now that we're in
Yeah.
like once we're
Yeah.
in power and we're in charge, of course we're able to
And we
do
can talk,
something.
do
We can
stuff,
talk.
right?
So do you think that's why they didn't say much about like when people are like, oh, what about the crime bill? What about the crime bill? Like, what about all the people that you put in jail and kept in jail? Like, maybe they didn't say anything because they're like, obviously, I can do what I wanted. Like, I can fix those wrongs, but I can't do it if I'm not in power. So instead of
Exactly.
talking
Right,
about it
right.
and like making promises, they're like, no. Let me get in power first, then we can talk about it. Because now I can
Yeah,
say
we can
something
talk.
about it.
Yeah.
And
Makes
so
sense.
did you see that that Kanye got like over 50,000 votes, 60,000 votes, something like that?
Yeah.
Oh my god, bro. Okay,
That's something else.
bro. Did you see?
Fifty
Did you?
thousand is pretty good for him, bro.
That's still pretty good.
Think
But
about
like, what's crazy is
it.
that if that 50,000 just went one way or the other, there
Oh
wouldn't
yeah.
be that nail biter finish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, wouldn't that be something, huh? Oh my
um,
God.
did you see that Kim Kardashian? She like people are like, oh, I wonder if Kim voted for Kanye, but it's obvious Kim didn't. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's obvious she
Like,
didn't. Um, but no,
yeah, that
I
was funny.
I think this is a perfect time if Kim is serious about this whole reform and everything because she was working with Trump on prison reform and stuff.
Hmm.
Now she has to work with Biden and Kamala, who are probably a big reason why a lot of the people she's trying to help are in prison.
Huh.
Do you see?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
see where
yeah.
like you see where that what's the word I'm looking
Yeah,
for?
like I wonder how
Dilemma or
that
something?
conversation is gonna go, right?
Exactly.
Mm.
And so this is gonna kind of prove. And like I saw some tweet. Like I saw Andrew Schultz post a tweet too. She put like blue hearts on the thing.
Yeah,
She's
she
like,
did,
so
right?
that's like she keeps trying to sneakily show who she voted for.
Voted for, right, right.
You know what? I don't blame her because even she's probably like, listen, Kanye's obviously cannot be president. You know what I mean? Like we need real change.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was hilarious, man.
I think some people just, those type of people. I think they think that because of their fame and their power that they can make smart decisions. But I feel like they go too far over their head because nobody can really tell them no.
Yeah.
And like that whole thing about them working with Trump, I really feel like they thought that because they're so famous, like there's a way to
Yeah.
go about it to make things look right. But then from the outside looking in, it's like there isn't a way to make it right. Like, Trump is doing certain things that you can't help,
Yeah.
like as much as they tried and try to show that whatever Kanye was doing, that whole phase of him trying to like push people to say that Trump is great, like that
Yeah.
he's not against us and stuff, it just ended up looking bad on him because there still isn't no proof about him not doing anything, you know, being
I
on the people's side,
yeah.
like
I heard that the reason why they were kind of buddy buddy with him was that one, because Kim was trying to do that prison reform and like she thought she couldn't
yeah,
do it without him, right? So in a sense, she's like,
right,
okay, I'll work with you just because I'm trying to do the right thing here. Kanye
hmm
obviously was probably trying to do it for his own sake.
right,
You know what I mean? He
like
was probably trying to do it for his
yeah,
own sake, and
it's
I'm
all
pretty sure that's what it
yeah,
was. It's just for the attention because you
right,
need that attention first, and then he can go on these like manic rants, and then whoever's like a follower of his be like, okay, you're making sense. Like, good thing that like you kind of came back into the limelight, right?
yeah, yeah.
I actually have another thing to say about Kanye too. But
Oh
like
God,
I'll wait till a little bit after because I want to say
no
something
more
else too.
about Kanye. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you feel about Trump being so salty? Like all his
Trump,
tweets and
isn't
like,
that stupid? I mean, that thing is everybody realize like, bro, just chill, bro.
yeah.
Like it's done.
Apparently
You're
Melania
making
was
it
telling
work.
him, like his
How
own
would
wife was
say?
telling him. His own wife was
Yeah,
like, "Yo,
like
you gotta
chill,
just
right?
go. We gotta go."
Come on now, let's go.
um, Another thing I was gonna
Yeah,
say too was, so with Biden's taxes, right? Like the reason why a lot of these celebrities were going Trump was like, oh,
right,
60% in New York, 60% in
right,
California and
right.
stuff.
hmm
Do you think with that tax bracket, it's gonna make people not want to have these higher position jobs, and it's gonna push people more towards maybe creating their own business? Because like we
America's
said,
gonna
remember
find
you
their
can just,
way.
you know what I mean? Because now you can just write stuff. Like, you remember you talked about you can just
Exactly.
make all that stuff.
hmm
So now you
hmm
can just
You know,
scam the system and then be like, no, I'm good. I'm not gonna pay this crazy ass fucking
right.
tax.
That's what I'm saying. America's gonna always find their way.
I was
People
gonna say
always
they're
gonna
gonna
find their
find a
way.
way, right? That's what I figured.
Of course. Like, because you gotta remember, right? The people that are really getting affected, that like the people that are legitimately working hard to help people
Yeah.
and they're going to get affected are like the people that one live in a state that already has high taxes like New York.
Right.
So like the worst case scenario for somebody in America right now is like a surgeon that lives in New York
Mm-hmm.
has no other income coming in. They're getting their
Okay.
money taken away heavy because they
Yes.
make a lot, they don't have their own business,
Yep.
like that hurts those type of people the most. Like if you look at that specific area,
Mm-hmm.
but like you said, everybody else can start their own business now with the internet. I think with COVID too, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that the predicted trend was that cities were going to get a little wider because so many people wanted to live in cities. And so cities were going to become like a metropolis, right? Like New
Okay.
York was going to get even bigger.
Yeah.
Miami was going to be like they had all these predictions for the next 20, 30 years. Now with COVID, people realize you don't have to be in the same building working with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
What ends up happening? COVID happens and they realize, wait, they don't have to be in a big building here in New York, work all together. We could just do it all
True.
online.
Yep.
And now nobody really cares to be there. Like you can live an hour away outside the city, quiet, peaceful, have your family, have your home,
Yeah.
and you still have that job that you would have had in the city. So like the
Exactly.
world is really changing, man. I'm telling you.
Bro, like I'm a city kid, obviously. You know what I mean? Like I lived in Ottawa like my whole life practically.
hmm
Um, but when I moved to London, actually no, okay, when I moved to Calgary, still a big city, but like I got the nature aspect of it, which is beautiful.
Right. You're like, this is nice. I like this.
Exactly. But then Calgary was just getting more and more and more populated, so it's just getting busier and busier.
Right.
Um, but then I moved to London, and then it's kind of like that. London is only an hour, 2 hours away from Toronto.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I'm far enough where I could, like, let's say I want to go to a Raptors game, or well, before COVID, I want to go to the Raptors game. I want to go to a concert or whatever. I can just drive over to Toronto, go,
Yeah.
and then drive back.
Why
It's
not?
it's nothing, right?
hmm
But I'm also surrounded by a lot of nature.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And I was gonna say, like, I find that COVID actually really made me despise. I don't like the city. You know what I mean? I just don't like being crammed just around a lot of people.
And
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
I don't know if that makes me like antisocial or like what. But like
yeah.
it's
You don't
weird.
like the noise or something? Like,
It's not the noise exactly. It's just I guess so it's the noise. It's like I like the peace and quiet, you know what I mean? I don't like the craziness. And when with city just comes just crazy ass people.
right.
You know what I mean?
Crazy people. You come out your house, you're like, where do I park?
Yep.
Freaking
I
paying
live
so
right in the
much.
outside of downtown. Like technically live downtown, but I'm just like right outside like core downtown.
Right. And that's
And you
the
have all
thing
the
too, right?
crackheads
Like,
here.
well, the other thing is too, it's like there's certain cities that are still manageable to live around, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure London is easier to live around than compared to Toronto. Like,
Hell
even
yeah.
living like 15, 20 minutes outside downtown Toronto is probably still crazy,
Oh yeah.
right? Like,
Oh yeah.
it's a bigger city, right? So, like, even New York, I mean, you probably have to drive out like a good 30, 35 minutes to really be considered like outside of the city. Like, you can be further away from like
Yeah,
the
still not
commotion that's
considered New
going
York
on.
City.
Yeah, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because it's right. So, oh man, I like cities though. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Yeah.
I like the vibe of it, and I kind of enjoy that there's that craziness. But
Yeah.
it's maybe because my whole life I've been able to live out of the cities, you know. So
Yeah.
like I kind of already got used to this. I want to have a little bit of a change, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Like don't get me wrong, like I enjoy the city, but like I don't think I could live in the city. You know what I mean? That's my
Live in
thing.
the
Like I
city.
can't live in the city. Like I can't live in
That's
like a
what
downtown apartment. You
I
know what I
probably
mean?
want to live there, and then after a month I'd be like, no, I can't do
Yeah,
this.
literally after a
Get
month I'd be
sick
like,
of it
yo,
after a little
I need to get my
bit.
ass out of here. I can't afford rent, parking. You know what I
And you
mean? I'm
can't
getting
afford,
tickets
right?
constantly.
But that's what we were talking about, right? That's why we talked about that, about taxes and stuff. And
Yeah.
then we talked about living in cities, right? So I was gonna bring up though that whole tax thing, it's not what everybody is saying it to be. Like you can read
Mm.
about it online, but you gotta remember people have their way of explaining stuff without really explaining every detail of it. Right? Like
Exactly.
they're like,
Yeah.
if I'm poor and he's taking 50% of my tax and I have nothing left, he's not taking money from you if you're poor. Like that, you're not in that
Exactly.
category. You're
He's
not
taking the
even.
rich
That's not
people's
even
money. That's
about you.
it.
Right. You know, like I'm telling you, man, like there's just some stuff that people don't fully explain where it's like, that's not about you. And that's what I hate because there's Trump supporters like that. No, he's going to take all my tax. He's not talking about your taxes. Like,
Exactly.
that has nothing to do with you. Like,
They just get some information that like make Biden look bad and they run with it. But it's like, but it doesn't have to do
run
with
with it.
you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you're saying it
Yeah.
because it makes him look bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you have a part-time job at McDonald's. This tax thing is not touching you whatsoever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, there's this thing about abortions.
Yeah.
About abortions. They were saying that he was going to allow late term abortions. That's
See,
not what he said.
that's so fucked up. Like that's when I'm not okay. Like I'm pro-choice. You know what I mean? Like if you want to do it, do
Right.
it. Like you know what
Right.
I mean? Like I can't choose. I'm a guy. What do I
Right.
know? You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
But it's like it makes sense. Like it under certain circumstances, if you need to do it, if you have to do it, like I understand. But there are some
Mm-hmm.
people I like. What I don't agree with is like the ones that are very careless and they're like, oh well, it's available to me, so in case anything happens, I'll just go do it. That's when it's wrong.
Look, I'm about to read it for you right now. Where all this stemmed from?
Hmm.
His public option for the Affordable Care Act will cover abortion.
Okay.
Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing was that he has never stated about there being a late term abortion, right?
Okay.
It has to make sense for the person. Um, if I can find that one article that I found, it stated it perfectly what he was explaining.
So it's gonna be free?
He's gonna give assistance to people that aren't able to do abortions.
That's smart. That's really smart. And this is Biden's
This is
thing.
part of Biden's plan.
Okay.
I don't want to waste time on this podcast to look for it, but
Oh no
I
no
read
no.
about it and I'm like, what they said, it didn't add up to what I read just
What?
specifically. It's like on non-biased, like not on Fox News or not on CNN. Like these
Yeah
are just
yeah
straight articles, like from 2 or 3 sources that are like
yeah.
genuinely explaining like what he said. So I'm like, that's why I don't get too deep when it comes to that stuff because I'm like, I know people are just trying to say it their own way to make it sound good for their own benefit, you know?
Yeah. And bro, and that's the thing too. Everyone has their own interpretation of everything. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And like that's what's scary with like that's even what's scary with religion too, right? Because like you never know if this is someone's personal interpretation or if they're
Hmm.
like and that's what like one thing we can talk about that another time too. But like that's another thing that like is crazy that like everyone isn't like you should be entitled to your own opinion, but you should be open minded where your opinion can mix and mingle with other opinions and like form one good idea instead of I'm only
Hmm.
right. This is the way to do it. Like this is what he means. Blah blah blah. You didn't talk with anyone. You didn't really listen to him. You had your own agenda and you're speaking your own agenda now.
Right, 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 right.
So and that's what makes it really hard to like trust, especially with like fake news and like all this media, right? Like
Hmm.
you see the
Yeah,
social
yeah,
dilemma. You see every media post have their own agenda,
right,
and that's so messed up. And like you think about it, and like all these stories that you see, and like you're like, is this the truth or is there like only
right.
part of the truth? You know what I mean? Like that whatchamacallit, the when the guy like he walked around his car, went inside the car, and the cop shot him like 7 times in the back. Jacob Blake, I think
Oh
his name
yeah.
was.
Hmm.
So when I looked at it and I saw it, and I'm like, oh my god, like they just shot another guy again. Like what's going on? But they also didn't say that like the reason why they stopped him was because apparently he has some charges against him. I don't know, like I didn't look too much more into it just because like once I saw the flip flop in it, I was like, what the like what's true, what's not true. Like you see,
Right,
yes, that is the truth. You see, no, that's not the truth. So you're just like, you know
right.
what are the facts? You know what I mean? But do you know the facts on
That's
that? Like, do you
crazy.
know if they're actually trying to get him on some like sexual like
I
charges?
haven't seen anything after that, which is like another thing, right? Like they made it such a big deal. Where is it now? You know,
So
like after you got,
right, so that's what I think. What if that charge was true? So they're like, okay, we can't bring it up because now it
we
looks
can bring it up,
justified.
and we don't know. I mean, you can probably read it, right? But like you said, it's not in the global news to
Yeah, because
make it known. It's crazy,
it
man.
kind of
People,
doesn't go with the whole Black Lives Matter movement, right? Because they're kind of like, oh look, he got
if
shot,
he
but
really did do something, right?
yeah, it fucked it up. Um,
It's a good
so
point.
yeah, no, okay, so we were talking about Kanye. So okay, do you think Kanye had like? I love this. I was actually like looking forward to this one.
Okay.
Do, do you think Kanye has like a mental disability?
I think he does. I
When I
think he
say mental
legitimately
disability,
does.
yeah, like I mean like bipolar, ADHD, like
Isn't
all
it
the
out there
stuff.
though? Did he?
But
Isn't it out there that he does?
so like
Or no?
I think it is like but the thing is people are like saying different things. They're like, "Oh, they're just medicating him because of this." They say he's bipolar.
Okay.
I can kind of see that, but my actual opinion on that is after
Yeah.
listening to him on Rogan, I think he has ADHD.
Mm,
The reason why I say it's because I actually did see the I looked up like the stats on it and everything. So one thing you see though, like you don't see Kanye being moody. Like when you see him being moody, it's more of just like he has these when he's like really depressed and down. That's usually because he's on his meds. He says right because it just completely
mm,
blocks his creativity.
okay.
But when he's hyperactive and stuff, that's when he's not on his meds. But because people see the two sides, they think it's bipolar disorder because they see like, oh, you're down, now you're up. But they didn't put it together
Okay.
where like it was the medicine that put him down. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Okay. The
So
Taz theory.
th- listen to this. So so like I said, if you listen to him speak, he's very hyper. Kind of like okay, this I I look at this because I think I have ADHD.
Okay. So you
Because
like
again,
see
if you
this.
like listen to me speak, like I'm very like I'll talk really fast sometimes, like when I'm getting like excited
Okay.
or
Yeah,
hyper.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I sometimes like my mind goes so fast where like I can't put my words together properly, and like I'm
Right,
just
right.
like right. Um, and like I feel like sometimes my conversation is like all over the place because I'll be thinking of something. I'm like, oh wait, let me say this real quick, and then I'll go back to this. So like I'm looking at it more of like a personal level too. Um, I looked at a what was it like a stat 60 to 70% people um who are bipolar actually started with ADHD. They actually have ADHD.
They start with it.
Yeah, so like the thing is, it's you see ADHD in kids and you see bipolar in like adults. So they say like
Mm.
ADHD can turn into bipolar disorder as you get older, right? Because of the constant up and down, because of like the hyperactiveness of yourself. Um, so what they say too is like another stat is 20% of people who have ADHD have bipolar disorder also. So
Mm.
60 to 70% of people with bipolar disorder also have ADHD, but only 20% of people who have ADHD as like a primary diagnosis have bipolar disorder also. So
Oh.
it kind of like I don't want to call Kanye bipolar because I feel like the reason of his moodiness is because of his medicine. So that's why I kind of steer away from calling him bipolar. I do think he's a narcissist. You know what I mean? Like obviously.
You're right.
You know what I mean? And another stat: 70% of bipolar diagnoses are actually like misdiagnosed. You know what I mean?
So, so you think he was misdiagnosed?
I think he might be part of that 70% because he's an adult. Remember, I said you see bipolar more in adults.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's why I think when they're looking at it, and it's actually a thing where people mix up the two a little bit. Um, but yeah, so like I think Kanye just has like has severe ADHD. That's his thing.
Mm,
He probably does have bipolar, don't get me wrong, but I think the main thing is definitely ADHD and not
okay.
bipolar. I just want to put that theory out there and see what you thought about
I, yeah,
it.
yeah, I think it's a good theory. And I think that I think when you get to a certain point of fame too, it's like it's hard to put somebody in that diagnosis because it's so easy to say, well, because when you become so big, so famous, you start thinking different than
Yeah,
others. Or like you are famous because you always had a different way of looking at things.
yeah,
So in his mind, like he always mentions too, right? He was saying that plenty of times in the podcast, right? It's like it looks crazy to people, but it's because God was the one that was telling me. That's like a big thing. That's scary. You know, like
that
when you
is
really have
scary.
this thing that like it's because God was telling me. You
Yeah.
know, it's like that's nothing that you guys would know about because God was telling me, he wasn't telling you, so I have to act on it.
Do you think that's schizophrenia too?
There is a little bit of it too. I mean,
You
like
know what I
that's
mean?
crazy. Like that really. I don't want to say it's crazy. Okay, we can believe in God. God tells you stuff here, but not like the things that he's stating about like what God is telling him to do. Like God was telling him to run for president.
Yeah.
Didn't he say that?
Do you think he's kind of making himself seem like, I hate to say like astaghfirullah, like to say this and everything, but like do you think he's trying to call I had to say it, bro. do, do you think he's trying to call himself like a prophet type thing? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Do
That's
you,
what he's kind of doing. That's what he's trying to do. Right.
and it's okay. Do you know what's crazy though is that even in like the books, you know what I mean? It said that when when our prophets and our messengers they were speaking like this, people looked at them like they were crazy.
Uh,
You know what I mean?
right.
People looked at them
Right.
like they were crazy, but they said just
Right.
have faith. You need to have faith, and that's
Exactly.
yeah, and that's what
Yeah, it's like that's
stresses
what
me
he's trying
out.
to do, right? You're like,
So it's kind of
God,
like okay, so if he's
that
saying have
Yeezy
faith,
show,
pardon?
that Yeezy show in Colorado when he wants to gather people, right? And he does
Yeah,
that whole like Sunday service,
exactly,
and the stadium he wants to build, that whole
exact.
like big like thing,
Oh, bro, I'll tell
and
you right
people are
now,
gonna go. Like,
I'm not a Christian. You know what I mean? Like I would go just to experience what's going around because I want to see this. I want to see what it's
right,
gonna look
'cause it,
like.
right, right.
You know what I
But you
mean?
know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder how many people are actually gonna legitimately go for the fact that they believe in him for being such a great guy, or is it just like how you're thinking about it, just to go see it to see it,
Yeah. Also,
right?
I wonder if people are gonna go just to be like, yeah, I went there. Like, you know what I mean? Like this Hollywood
Right.
bullshit. Like, oh,
Yeah, exactly.
bro, life is, man. I don't know what it is. I think I mentioned this before. At the age of 25, your frontal lobe is like fully kind of developed and everything.
Uh-huh.
And the frontal lobe is actually used for decision making and stuff. I'm pretty sure, right? And like just like kind of making decisions and stuff.
Right,
Uh,
right.
so I found after I turned 25, bro, I'm not making decisions, but like trying to come up with like answers to questions I have. Like,
It's
this is
hard.
going on. I wonder why. And I go down this whole fucking rabbit hole. I go on a rabbit hole on everything I do.
Everything, right,
It's
right?
because I just want to fill myself with knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the more I fill myself with knowledge, the crazier I'm like, I'm looking at everything and I'm just like, wait, what the hell's going on here?
Rather not know anything, right? You're like, bro, I'm done.
Yeah,
I don't want to
bro.
know this.
Wait till this whole alien thing I start talking to you about, and then you're gonna be like, what is going on?
I'm down. I think about a lot of these deep things a lot, bro. I
Oh,
do.
I know you do. That's
And I
why.
need a
That's why I want you. That's why I need someone to talk to about this because I feel like talking to
Yeah.
someone who doesn't kind of like, in a sense, you are one of my only friends. Like I have a very few friends that are very open minded when I speak to them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's why I always have you on
Having
the
this like
show, just because I'm
open-minded discussion.
exactly because like you can not agree with something I say. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah,
know
but
you're not gonna be disrespectful about it.
yeah.
You can
Right.
just be like, okay, you make sense, but this is my theory, blah blah blah, and then we can
Right.
have that back and forth. That's literally any conversation I have. That's always what I go for. Even if I don't agree with you, I'll tell you I don't agree, but I understand why you came to your conclusions. But
Right.
I want to give you my input, so you also have other ways of looking at it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 And that's how it
Um,
should work.
exactly. And so that's what I'm
You
saying.
know,
That's
learn
why,
about
that's
that
why I
in
love having
philosophy,
conversations.
man.
Do you?
That, you know, that those things in philosophy class about like how philosophy started,
Yeah.
like because people would gather and they would talk, and there'd be older people that have wisdom, and the younger people would learn. But you
Hmm.
can also have your opinion and your way of looking at things. Like there's a whole
Yeah.
philosophical structure behind it. But not a lot
Yeah.
of people have that because like that's when psychology comes into play, where like people have their ego, you know,
Yeah.
where people have their certain misconception on thing and they want to be stubborn. More people tend to be more stubborn than other people, and so like
Yeah.
there are certain things just about the mind that work that way, you know, and that's like I think the whole battle. Why is it in this world like there has to be a battle, right, for
Yeah.
ourselves to be better people? Why can't that be applied to being open minded? Like it's
Yeah.
so like people are like more accepted to just well, this is who I am. Like I think that's a whole part of the journey to not be who you are for a little bit so you can learn how to be better, you know,
Yeah.
like you have to open yourself up to other things. You
That's
know, like
I know exactly what you're talking about. Like I've said this before. Like I'm so we met in what grade 11, right?
yeah.
So from like I'm obviously like kind of the same person because like I was going through like the changes of life and like trying to like ask
Hmm.
myself questions.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the questions that I've asked myself from when we first met, I've kind of answered now, like
Okay.
now from then. So in a
Now,
sense, I've
now.
become such a different person, right? So like I don't know how to explain. Like oh, I'm completely lost my train of thought. But what I was trying to say was pretty much that
You,
like
yeah,
um
yeah.
okay, wait, what did you say again? Say that last thing you said again because
You
I just
gotta
lost my
hit
train of
that one
thought.
more time, bro. Go grab that real quick.
I'm gonna hit this button again. You say what you want to. You say what you were gonna say again. I'm gonna roll. Roll this.
You
I'm gonna grind this up real
gotta
quick.
go ahead and hit that real quick.
Oh my
It was.
god.
I know what you were trying to say though. Like from that time till now, you had
Yeah.
time to reflect, and you actually gave yourself that time to reflect and ask questions, and answers to them instead of just not looking for that answer and just saying to whoever it is that you were, right? Like never grew.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like I found that like I'm a completely different person than I was from 10 years ago when I was 15. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you
So
should be right. You should be able to learn and grow.
exactly, and like that's what I was gonna ask you too, because you said like that's how philosophy works. Where you just kind of, in a sense, you just kind of like sit down, talk with people, and you just like reflect ideas. You throw ideas out, and like you just
Yeah,
work together.
yeah.
That's like I find that's one way you can get through life without having all these like problems, if that makes sense. Like you know how some
Hmm.
people are like, oh, like with technology sometimes they're like, no, like I'm old school, like blah blah blah. Like, oh, I'm old school. Like, yes, you're old school, I understand, but at the same time, you should get this like up to date kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
with trends, like the trends that are now are different than when we were around, like for the trends like like the last trends. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
So in a sense, we can shit on the trends now, but if you don't adapt to it, then you become lost.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, all you know is your old ways, and your old ways are not
Yeah.
going to work today if you don't keep yourself up with the trends. Like I hate to say parenting because I'm not even a parent yet. Um, but no, like I think the same thing with parenting is like if you don't keep up with the trends, you're gonna lose that connection you can have with your children.
With your kids, right?
You know what I mean? Because like, what do kids always say? My parents don't understand. Like, it's kind of like, well, when I was your age, it's like, yeah, when you were my age, it was completely different.
Right. But that's
And
why
like,
you learn and you grow, right?
exactly. So like, I personally feel like, yes, you can have your own ways. Because like, I'll be honest, like, if when I talk to my nephew, for example, I'll give him advice based on like kind of what I went through. But then I always remember that times are changed. Times have definitely changed.
Times have changed, right? Right.
So I understand like the certain things I tell him that like may not work. So I'll be like, okay, maybe I'll try to kind of put myself in his shoes and be like, okay, where's he seeing all this stuff? Because I'm keeping up with the trends, I can understand
Yeah.
certain things and how to like speak to him.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? And so like I feel like in a sense, as like to anyone who's listening who's a parent who wants to be a parent, try to doing that. Like just put yourself in your kids' shoes and like just have that leniency. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Have that
Hey,
open mindedness. That's the thing. That's
that's
the
the
main
advice
thing.
of the day.
Before I smoke this toke too. But no, but
Oh,
that's what I'm
man.
saying. Like I just think if this world wants to move forward, and like it just seems like we just can't move forward for some reason. It's because we're so close minded. You know what I mean?
Right.
We just like no, my
That's
way's the
true.
right way. And so like, did you hear about do you know who Brett Weinstein is?
Brett Weinstein?
Brett
Let me look
Weinstein,
this
Brett
up.
Weinstein. Like it's one of Joe Rogan's
Oh,
friends. He's like the scientist, whatever.
freaking biologist?
Yes, that biologist guy, the evolutionary biologist.
Okay. What did he
Um,
say? I remember his face on Rogan.
yeah, he was saying that he was saying that he wants to create because like this two party thing is not gonna work because it divides people too much where you have like people too much to the left and then people too much on the right, right? That
Mm,
makes sense. That makes complete sense. What he was promoting was a center party, a
okay.
united center. So you have someone who's in the center right and then someone who's in the center left, and they work together. Bro, how if I tell you he made a
How does
Twitter
that make
right? He made a Twitter account and everything, like about
I'm
like
seeing
the
that right now.
right, and then Twitter banned the account, suspended the account
Because he's talking about that type of stuff?
because he's talking about uniting both sides.
Mm,
So that's when you're just like, wait, what the fuck is going? Like, I thought that's what we want as people. You want to be united.
right.
Someone saying, let's unite the right and the left, and you're saying no. What do you mean
Right.
no? Isn't that kind of what you want?
That's exactly what we need.
Isn't
I
that what Trump
never
was trying to
understood that.
do? Right? He was dividing people. Like I was gonna bring this up in the time before, but I just never had the chance. But like Obama, he was
Yeah.
like even though he was like the first black president, Obama really tried not to focus just on the black, like at the African American community or like the
Right.
population in America. He's trying to be everyone's president, which is the way to go.
Biden was
But
saying the same thing.
exactly. So do you see what like in the sense that's smart, right? But you see Trump, he was trying to divide the whole time. And that was the thing I think that was kind of that's what's separating America again because what happened when you guys divided? You had that civil war, right? The North versus the South.
Civil War.
It keeps going like this. Like it's gonna go to that. It's kind of leaning towards that, right? If you think about it.
That thing that you brought up now about that biologist, the same thing happened to what's this guy's name? The other guy that was on his podcast that does those archaeology discoveries.
Graham Hancock.
Graham Hancock. How
I
many
love
times he
Graham.
was saying, right? Even in his party, when he
Yeah,
goes to those discussions, people didn't agree with what he was saying.
yeah,
He had legitimate proof of what he was finding. And
yeah,
it took like 10 years for people to realize, wait, he's actually saying something that makes sense because of this and that. Why
yeah,
can't you open up to people? He was like, they don't want to open up because they have an agenda. They've been teaching people the same way for the last 100 years, right?
yep.
Why can't you open up to it? It ends up being true what he's saying.
Yep.
So imagine all the other things in the world we could be discovering if it's not for these big groups that are trying to like have their way, their own agenda,
Yeah.
right? What does that give? I don't understand why people are like that. Wouldn't you want to find people like Graham Hancock that's actually finding legitimate things to progress us, to move forward, to look at life a different way?
Oh, 100%, bro. Here, sorry. I think the video kind of. I gotta start recording again. All right, we good.
Because it's an hour.
No, I don't know what happened. It just stopped recording, but
Mm-hmm.
we're good. We're good.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, what were you saying? It's funny you said that because I told look I'm kind of bringing aliens just real quick because it kind of works with this.
Okay.
Bob Lazar, was the guy who
Yep.
worked. You heard about the story, right? Like
We
he like
talked
kind of
about that, right?
yeah,
Right.
we talked about it. He kind of like blew the whistle on this whole thing, and people weren't
Mm-hmm.
believing him. But then all of a sudden, years later, the stuff he's talking about is coming true and it's coming to light. They're
Coming
like,
true.
oh shit, he was right. He's not crazy. But because the reason why you didn't believe him is because the government pretty much was just being like, no, no, they're trying to hide that stuff. Don't believe in it. He's crazy. Like that was the
Mm-hmm.
narrative. If you saw UFOs, you're crazy. Like that's not true.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's messed up how it's becoming more and more true though. If you think about it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna
And it is. And there's
I'm gonna
probably a lot like that.
yeah. Here, one sec. And that's why I feel like, what if Kanye's onto something, man?
He's doing something. I'm telling you. I
He
mean, the
definitely
thing
is
that
doing
you're
something
saying makes
special.
completely sense. He's doing something special, but it's very true also that like America gives people this ability to be whoever they want, and it's very scary how people can actually find their way to actually do a little bit too much. I feel like it's as weird as it sounds, right? Everybody should have their freedom to do whatever they want. But like, look at even Travis Scott. And what's crazy about Travis Scott is because he's connected to Kanye, right? That good music and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And bro,
Sorry, I,
it's pretty.
I have
Why?
Travis Scott on my hot topics today.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a hot topic.
Okay, no, continue your whole
Oh, you
Travis
want
Scott
me to
thing.
leave it? Then I won't talk about
Mm-mm. Continue,
it.
continue. We'll talk about it too.
Well, because it's connecting to what he was saying about Kanye West,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
He wants to build a utopia, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's talking about. He's everywhere. He's got deals with the biggest companies, with PlayStation, with
McDonald's,
McDonald's. That
uh,
Cactus Jack thing is stamped on almost everything. And he
Fortnite.
talked about it in that, yeah, Fortnite. And he talked about it in that last interview where he wants to build a utopia where kids that want to live their life and not live like a normal life that
Yeah,
people generally live, they can live it because he's
yeah.
going to build this utopia. And he's like, it sounds crazy, but when you guys see it, it'll be amazing. And he's like going crazy over it. It's like that's how you know somebody got too much money and they got too much power in the world now. And the power is not even real power, bro. It's literally just because it's a popularity contest. Like the
Yeah, no,
power
that is true.
that he has is the fact that the companies know they will make more money connecting with him. It has nothing to do about how great the person is or whatever he wants to bring to the table. If it's about money at the end of the day, then it's gonna look good. You know, that's the only thing that matters. I
Yeah.
think even NLE Chopper was talking about it too, because now he's on this whole health craze and he put
Mm-hmm.
on the spot. Travis Scott, you have so many fans. Why don't you do a sponsorship with Whole Foods or with an organic company, not with
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's if you're really trying to help people and help kids, right? That's a perfectly good point. If you have so much money, why don't you talk to Whole Foods that's connected with Amazon and you can
Yeah.
connect with them and make a good deal with something with organic food, bring more people in there. It's because
Yep.
they don't care about that because McDonald's probably gave him more money and he knows there's going to be more attention. Doesn't have nothing to do with the good for people or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Bro, that's what someone says too. Like Jeff Bezos makes so much fucking money that he can literally solve world hunger in America itself.
huh,
Sorry, not world hunger in America itself. He can solve homelessness and like hunger in
homelessness.
America itself. He can probably do it in the
Okay.
world also. Let's be honest here. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
the fact that he won't even do it in his home country where it's really, really bad
yeah,
is pretty fucked up.
yeah.
Okay, you say that the Travis Scott when he was collabing with these people, it's because like it's not because they have like power, it's because they have fame and like it's easier like because McDonald's stock went up once Travis Scott had his like that meal,
Right.
right?
And what
Did
did
you
that benefit? Nothing, bro. They're killing
nothing,
people with that food.
bro? Have I I bring up Dunkin' Donuts because Uh, did
I
you
know a
did
little
you
bit about
did,
Dunkin' Donuts.
did you work there, or did you like what
Yeah,
was it?
I was with I managed a little
Yeah,
bit.
you managed Dunkin' Donuts. Okay, yeah. So, um, first of all, Dunkin' Donuts just got bought out by Arby's. So did Baskin Robbins. Right? Did you hear about that?
I left the company. Now I didn't even know about that. When did this happen?
Yeah. Just last week, maybe. Arby's bought out Baskin Robbins and Dunkin' Donuts.
I just see right
Yeah,
here, $11.3 billion.
$11.3 billion. Yeah, and I was gonna say that too. Like, apparently, Dunkin' Donuts was only a donut shop, and then once
Mm-hmm.
coffee became a thing, they were gonna go under. They're like, wait, we'll do coffee also, and that's how they became. Boom, they jumped back up because they did
Mm-hmm.
coffee and donuts.
And donuts.
They're like America's Timmy's, pretty much, right?
Can I tell you something? I
What?
know maybe you don't know this because I actually read the book on it
Uh
since I was with Duncan and my dad was and stuff like that. Where's this book right? I'm gonna correct you on something because that's what everybody thinks. This
oh,
book right
okay,
here is actually by the guy, his whole story.
okay.
The dude that actually came up with the whole Duncan thing, William Rosenberg. He's right here. This dude, and I read about it, and he's talking about his upbringing in
Okay, looks
Boston,
like George Bush.
and he actually, what he actually did was he worked at a cafeteria. So he worked at a whole bunch of places, but one of his main places was this like cafeteria thing that he
Hmm.
would like drive around and deliver coffee in these little carts for like different businesses, go up to like companies and the people in suits or whatever for their breaks. They could get like a sandwich and a coffee and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
He figured out how to brew the perfect coffee. He learned from like he would go into hotels and stuff. He would be like, why do hotels in these fancy places have fancier coffee than like the generic ones that you find out in like gas stations and stuff like that? He realizes about the beans, about all this stuff. So he ended up taking it in his own hands to figure out how to brew the right way, the perfect way, with the right temp, with the right everything.
Okay.
And he brought that perfect sense of coffee, which is then that Dunkin' Donuts coffee that you
Right.
have, and realized that it matches well with donuts. So then
Okay.
that's really how it came about, like
Okay. Okay. Okay.
so he
Wow.
actually came about with that whole thing. Yeah. So it's actually I didn't know that either. I worked there too. I didn't know until like I started really reading that book, and I just read it recently too. So I was like curious to see how he got up. It's a great
So
book actually.
so he
That
thought
guy
of
like did
coffee
a lot.
himself, pretty much.
He figured out like the perfect way how to brew. He learned from different people and realized what's good, what's not. Why does this taste like this? Why does yeah? So
So did he start
even
with
about the
coffee
whole
or did he
thing
start
about
with donuts?
so he started with coffee. That's the thing. He started in a cafeteria with like with sandwiches and coffee and stuff like that. It wasn't even with donuts yet. The
Damn.
donut part came after. Yeah,
Yo, this is some big ass fucking news because I'm listening to these like big podcasts, and
yeah.
they're saying that like it started off with what was it? Dunkin' Donuts started off as a donut place, and then they added coffee after. But not to know that coffee actually was the first thing before donuts.
Brewing. Yeah, they're doing it.
Brendan Schaub, where you at? I'm coming for you now.
But misconstrued too because of the
Yeah,
name.
yeah,
So the story you would think right it's because donut. So
yeah.
then Dunkin' because like you're
You're dunking a
dunking the
donut.
donut in
Yeah.
the coffee. But that name just came afterwards, just for the fact of like just finding a catchy name to use. Like they didn't have a name you know what I'm saying?
Okay. See, I always thought Dunkin' Donuts wasn't just a donut thing, cause like it made sense. Dunkin' Donuts. What are you dunking it in?
Right.
Your fucking
I
like
mean, if you look at
sauce?
the yeah, yeah, they have their own coffee. Like if you look at like the top coffee shops, it's
Mm.
in competition with Starbucks because Dunkin' gets their own beans and stuff in a
Yeah,
whole different
yeah.
place,
Oh my
and they
god.
go ahead and about that. Yeah,
Wow.
um,
It's even more
yeah,
amazing
it's not
because
like
I'm high as shit.
the thing too is like right, like I don't know if you know the story about Tim Hortons, but like the guy's name, it's self-explanatory, right?
Yeah.
Like Tim Horton. But like with Dunkin' Donuts, like they came up with that name exclusively for that branding to like be catchy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
Tim Hortons was like originated like in Hamilton, I think. Oh, I can't remember.
I think.
Cause
Hey, we could Google it.
cause when I go to when I went to Hamilton and stuff, um,
They're like first Tim Hortons. Is that what they
yeah,
did?
they did something like
Okay.
that. Here, let me see.
That's what's out in Boston. They got the first Dunkin' ever made, and they still got that old school look on it. It's pretty dope.
Tim
Um,
Hortons.
but yeah, I mean, what was that? What were we talking about that? I didn't even smoke. I'm forgetting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the first Tim Hortons. Here, wait. I'll share the screen. You see it?
Oh,
So yeah, the first Tim Hortons opened in
I can't see it by the
1964.
way.
Oh, you can't?
Uh,
Uh,
I see you.
wait. Do you see it?
Nope.
Here, wait. It might be it might be a little bit of a lag. So like, it might
Okay.
just like be
Let's just
processing.
see. All right.
But yeah, here I'll just read it to you. Since
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
here. It the first Tim Hortons opened in April 1964 at the corner of Ottawa Street, rep,
yeah.
North and Dunsmuir Road in Hamilton, Ontario. So yeah, it is in
Okay.
Hamilton, and I know exactly what corner it is. So yeah, that's actually
That's
the first Tim
cool.
Hortons. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Anyway, let's read the Tim Hortons thing real quick. Okay. Tim Hortons Incorporated is a Canadian multinational fast food restaurant chain based in Toronto. Tim Hortons serves coffees, donuts, and other fast food items in Canada's largest quick service restaurant chain with 4,846 restaurants in 14 countries. 14 countries? Really?
Mm,
I didn't know it was like, damn. By December 31st of 2018. Damn.
okay.
All right. Get it, Tim Hortons.
So that thing about just building a company, right? Is that where you're trying to go towards?
No, I was actually gonna say another thing because you were saying, have they used, celebrities for their power and everything? I was gonna say Dunkin' Donuts did it with, you know who Charlie D'Amelio is? D'Amelio?
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So they did that Charlie drink and everything.
When they do the Charlie drink,
They did so long ago. They have a
they
Charlie
did the
drink.
Charlie drink
Yeah, they have it now.
at Dunkin'?
Yeah,
You could tell them, or it's on the menu.
it's on the menu now. Here, wait. Charlie.
Dances onto the menu because I was already gone from Dunkin' when this happened. I see it right here.
Oh yeah, you see it?
Uh-huh. I didn't know that because I was already out the company. I didn't even pay attention.
Um,
I didn't see it at that moment. They just announced it now, though. You saying they had it, bro? It says right here. What's new? September 2nd, 2020. Didn't happen that long ago.
September, October, November. Oh, okay, 3 months.
Yeah.
Here wait 1 second.
Oh, bro, how did I not see that? Let me see this.
Dunkin' Donuts.
So yeah, we're talking about for the audience that's listening.
Yeah, we're talking about the
This has to
Dunkin'
do with
Donuts
people
thing.
about. Well, yeah, and it has to do about fame, right? Like,
Yeah.
what does it bring to the company? Charlie drink. What even is it? Medium cold brew with milk and caramel. Man,
And three pumps of caramel. That's specific.
But I'm telling you right now, you know why it's 3 pumps? Because a medium always gets 3 pumps. That's how it works. There's nothing special. That's what it is. If you would have went to Dunkin' before this came out and you said I want a cold brew with caramel and cream, you would have got 3 pumps of caramel because you don't have to specify. It's 3 pumps. Like, bro, I'm telling you right
You
now.
already
like,
know this. This comes from the expert.
But that's what I'm saying about that whole Travis Scott meal, bro. It's a cheeseburger with bacon on it. Like there was nothing.
There used to be a bacon cheeseburger. Don't you remember it?
Right.
I'm pretty
They
sure.
basically brought it back instead of Travis meal.
Yeah, man. Like I just
I mean, for real, right? Like you know what I'm talking about.
And like like you said, like why do it for something that's actually not good for anyone? Yeah, exactly. What are you getting out of this? You know what I mean? Like
Money.
exactly, it's money, and that's so messed up. It's like you're already making enough money. You know what I mean? Why do you need to make more money?
You don't, but if when you can, then
I know,
you will, right?
like my point is pretty much like you already have so much money. Like this deal that you're getting of more money. Like, what if you get like 10 million less? Okay, you get 10 million less,
Hmm.
and you're doing a good thing. That's not good
Exactly.
enough. You're already so
Right.
rich, and you're
People
getting
don't think
you're
like that though.
is that you're already getting so much money. You can't just take a slight pay cut just to do the right thing. Like what the fuck?
And Ali Chopper was talking about that too. He said, "Eat healthy. That food y'all eating, it messes with your head too. Put that Travis Scott burger down and go to farmers market, get some vegetables, eat plant-based.
Yeah.
Stop killing people with this bad food." Yeah. Like I just like that he came out and said that. He doesn't care.
Yeah, man. Like I just oh, by the NLE Choppa, that's the one that's dating the tennis player, right?
And Ali Chopper? No, no, no.
Are you sure?
You talking
Or it's
about
Corday?
Corday, yeah.
Corday, yeah, yeah, it's Corday. Bro, I saw him like cheering her on. I just thought it was so
Oh
funny
yeah.
just to see him at like a tennis game. Like you just don't
That
see
was
it.
really cool.
Like what are you doing at a
Yeah.
tennis game? Oh right, your girlfriend's playing. Your girlfriend's like the best
Right.
tennis player.
Like, that's awesome. Like, I didn't know that either when I was watching it too. You know,
Yeah.
my grandpa plays tennis, so I keep up on
Oh
the bigger
really?
games, know what's
Nice.
going on.
Who's your
And I
favorite
was
player?
watching that too. I mean, shoot, bro. Yeah, that's a tough one. Don't put me on the spot like that. The-
um. Okay. Let me ask you
Because
this
like,
then.
yeah,
Did you see what happened with Djokovic, when he like
yeah, when
hit
he
the
got
ball
kicked
at
out
the
like that,
yeah? How'd you feel about that?
I was mad. I watched that because I'm like, bro, I know he didn't mean that. Like, obviously, he's not
Exactly.
trying to hurt the person there, but they're like, you should be more conscious because there's people around. You could tell that he hit it, and then like he like went back like I know that what I just did is about to hit this person, and like I'm screwed. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
clearly unintentional. Like he's too mature for that. There's some
He
players out there that do stuff stupidly all the time, so you could
yeah,
blame that person, but not to him. Like he
yeah.
doesn't, you know,
He
you
probably
know he
hit
didn't
it
mean
before
that.
he looked. You know what I mean? And then he looked, and he's like, "Oh
Right.
fuck."
Yeah, I
I
just almost
I've
killed the
had that
lady.
moment. We've all had that moment where you just throw it, and you're
He
just like,
almost
"Oh
killed her, bro.
shit."
He was
It's slow
dying,
motion
bro.
too.
Bro, she couldn't
Um,
breathe. They took the mask off of her. They're like, she got it. She needs air. Like you saw lady pull the mask
did
off.
it hit her in the neck or something?
I think so, bro. Like
Bro,
that hurt,
if
man.
she
That
presses
definitely hurt.
charges, she's a like I hate to say it, but she's a bitch. Like, don't do that to the man.
Don't
He already
do
got kicked
that
out of the
to
whole thing, man. He's probably gonna compensate you anyways if you did get like really hurt. Um, since we're on sports, I'll transition into this next thing. Do you keep up with boxing at all?
a little bit.
Um,
What are you talking about? The big fight that just happened not long ago?
no, no, no. So like, yes, that
Which
and
guy?
no. Okay, you know Deontay Wilder, right?
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
So hang on 1 second. Deontay Wilder excuses. Okay. So Deontay Wilder, did you watch that fight? Like the second fight where he like got knocked out by Tyson Fury?
Yep, I seen that.
And did you see that like all his excuses after he lost?
Bro, why? Why do people gotta go out there and make excuses like that?
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Hey, 1 sec. Um, he was saying like at the beginning he was saying it was because of the costume he was wearing was too heavy for him. Not too heavy
Bro,
for him, but
that
like do you know what I
right,
mean?
right. Got him tired, right? Like by the
Exactly.
time he got in there, he was drink.
Did you see the new
Bro,
ones? The
which
new
team was?
excuses? The one where he's like, "Oh, he put egg weights in his hands to hit me. That's why every time he punched me, like he
Oh,
left a
I didn't
mark."
hear that. What?
What? Okay,
That's
bro,
what he was saying.
it's wildness, bro. Video.
Clearly, nobody's gonna believe that, bro. Like,
No,
carry on.
bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's so sad. Like he literally what you call it? He literally goes, yeah, he had egg weights in his hands. That's why he like kept making bruises. He says
Wait,
his trainer put muscle relaxer in his water before the fight.
come on.
Do you know what I mean? And he's like going on this like he's going on this Bible talk saying like a thief, if he gets caught, he's gonna start lying and make excuses. I'm like, you're the only one making excuses. Like, what are you
Making
talking about?
excuses? Yeah,
You know what I
what are
mean,
you talking
bro?
about?
Like
Come on.
he sounded like it was really sad to see. You know what I mean? Because he sounded so fucking crazy. Like, okay, you watch football, obviously. Antonio
Hmm.
Brown.
Crazy, dude.
So, and do you know what they say? How like that hit, that helmet hit he took,
Like
that
that's
like
what messed him up.
that's what messed him up. Gave him like that messed up like impulse
Psyche.
psyche, right?
Yeah.
What if that's what happened to Deontay Wilder, bro? He got his ass beat so bad that like it's like slowly CTE's like fucking him up, kind of
It
like
could
AB.
be.
Do you know what I mean? That's why it's like what you're saying is not making any sense. Like, how are you so like delusional? You lost. Like, take the loss. You know what I mean?
I still think that people in those calibers that have such an intense sport that they play, like football or boxing or
Yeah.
UFC, like they have their way of saying crazy things because it's just the level of craziness is so high. Like to be a boxer at that level, be a
Yeah.
UFC fighter, a football player, like it is intense. Like like people don't realize how tough it is to play that. You watch the fights, but
Yeah.
to be in there and taking those hits, like you see, oh yeah, that he got 20 punches in, hit him 10. Those are punches. Like
Yeah.
you take punches, right? Like
Yeah.
let me see how you feel when you're taking punches
Yeah.
all the time, right?
Oh
And you're
yeah.
dealing with the pressure of the meat. Then not even talking about the media,
Yeah.
all the other stuff that comes along with it. Your brain is obviously going to do crazy things, right?
That's why
We
Joe
talked
Rogan
about that with
says.
John Jones,
No, go ahead.
right? Just about John Jones.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna talk about John Jones too.
I mean, we talked about it last podcast a little bit, right? Like the top UFC fighters, but like,
Yeah.
because you need that sort of energy in you to be saying certain things like, I'm better than Khabib for whatever reason. Like, you
Yeah.
need to be that type of person to come out and say certain things.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you see with Deontay Wilder, like, you don't think about it in the moment, I guess,
Yeah.
when you're in that like level of
So, do you think John Jones is going through some sort of CTE also because of all those like crazy decisions he
you
made?
think
No,
everybody's going through CC?
no. But seriously, like all these impulsive decisions he makes, like these like crazy decisions. They
Could
say
be.
that's a result of CTE.
Yeah.
Like your brain is
Yeah.
like you're unable to make Aaron Hernandez. You know what I mean? Why do you think he was so fucked up? Because like when they looked at his brain, it was so
It
messed up
was
from all the hits and
right.
everything. So you can only imagine. And like John Jones
Mm,
even said, he goes, because one time he got pulled over, he goes, I get punched for a living. Like I forget a lot of things.
okay.
So you know what I mean? So like I do take brain damage into impulsive decisions, right?
Okay.
So like it's just I guess it's an excuse,
Right. It's an
right? Like
excuse, but it's not an excuse, right?
it's not an
Because
excuse
it's
at the same
like,
time. It's also like it's some sort of like it's like a break. Like I'll give you some sort of break. Like I won't be too hard on
yeah,
you. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
And I think people do end up thinking about that at the end of the day too. Don't you think? Like, I don't think anybody's gonna be thrown under the bus to that capacity for saying stuff like that because
Yeah.
I think everybody will start thinking like that. They'll
Yeah.
start thinking, you know what, man, like this guy's been through a lot, and he definitely
True.
has some sort of damage and stuff like that. So,
True. Like okay. Um. I kind of want to go back to Wilder. Do you keep up with boxing exactly? Like, do you like have you seen the way Deontay Wilder fights and everything? Like,
not
kind of.
not every fight. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. But like you kind of know how he kind of fights, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
they
I've
say
seen
he.
highlights and stuff, but
Okay, perfect. So they say that his right hand is the ultimate eraser. No matter how the
okay,
fight's going, if he hits you clean with that right hand, like
you're
he
done.
can end that whole game, like that whole fight. So if you watch him fight, and I keep up with like I keep up with boxing and I'm starting to keep up with boxing again because like a lot of good fighters are starting to come up again.
Okay.
Um, and then same UFC. I've been watching UFC for so long, right? So like I watch different people fight, if you watch a Deontay Wilder fight, he only has one way of fighting. He literally sets you up with the left, and then he'll just hit you with the right. All he does is just like 1-2. Like you can tell what he's about to do because all he does is the same thing because he knows that if he hits you with the right hand, that's it.
Mm.
He's explained it. So the question is, the reason why he lost to Tyson Fury was because Tyson Fury is just a better boxer, a complete boxer than Wilder is. Do you
Right.
think Wilder can change his game and like adapt and he, by the way, he fired his trainers and everything. So he kind of has to get
Damn.
yeah, he like they say that he fired him because they're not saying yes to him. He surrounds himself with yes
Right.
men. He surrounds
Exactly.
himself with yes
Exactly.
men.
That's usually what happens if you want to fight. You fight. You trainer
Exactly.
like that.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like when someone talks like that, like you were saying, like some people have like they should have like the right to kind of speak like that and everything. But I feel like the reason why people speak like that and like it's kind of crazy like that is because they don't have anyone telling them no.
Mm.
It's kind of like and because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's kind of like someone should tell you like you shouldn't take it on like that. Like like come at it in a better way because you want people to respect what you're saying, right? You want to come off as arrogant.
And then that's what happens from not listening to people because you start feeling arrogant based on what you've done in the world, you know, like in the fighting world or whatever it is, really.
Transition because we're talking about UFC.
Okay.
Have you seen the news that Israel Adesanya is moving up weight to fight for the light heavyweight title?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, like I said before, man, I think that there's only, I think Connor, for him doing it, was cool
Set a trend.
because set a trend, and not even just about the trend, it's just the fact that who he is as a person.
Yeah.
I think Israel, if he would have stayed to where he is with his weight, you could be. We talked about that with Khabib, right? Like at the end of the day, he stayed where he is. You can say whatever you want. He did because that's where he felt comfortable with, and he dominated.
Yep.
You know, and Israel could definitely dominate in his field, and he could be that great.
Yeah.
But again, like he's definitely got that hype that came to him now because more people are noticing him. He definitely wants to show up now in a crazier way.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna if he loses, right, then it'll definitely hurt him. And then we'll always say that, man, he didn't have to do that. He could have stayed where he was and done a great thing. With Conor, that was a whole different thing. I bring that up because like he's on a whole nother level. Like I don't think Israel's on that level of like where Conor was mentally. You know? Yeah, the fame and the fighting Floyd and stuff like that's not him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know fighters, they change weight classes. They do that, right, every now and then. But I think at this moment, if he didn't do it, he could still have that trajectory to get himself a little bit up there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he's pushing the gun right now.
I know. It's because he wants to fight John Jones in 2021 or 2022.
Bro,
but like,
how do you feel about that?
I like that he wants to fight him in a sense because you want to beat like the GOAT, right? Like,
sure.
You know what I mean? So like, Izzy said that he's like, if I go up and I win the light heavyweight title, cool. If John Jones goes up and he wins the heavyweight title, I'm gonna go up to heavyweight and I'm gonna beat John Jones for the heavyweight title.
He's crazy.
You know what I mean? It's that confidence he has. It's like it's gonna get him in trouble, obviously. But like, obviously, it's gonna get him in trouble, bro. Because you have to put on
that's
much
a lot of weight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how long? And then like you gotta have some. You gotta like to jump up another whole weight class, 20 pounds, right? No, not 20. Yeah, 20 pounds, right?
Bro.
Actually, no. 206 is when heavyweight will start. So he can be 210, 215 pounds. You know what I mean? So he can. You know what? He'll probably be fighting at his natural weight. Does that make sense?
Natural weight.
No, because 185, you have to like make weight, right? Like you have to like work. Like they're usually a lot heavier than what they fight at because they're able to cut down that much weight and like fight there.
Oh, okay.
But when they're like walking around, the walking around weight is probably like you know what I mean. Some people they can put on a lot of weight and then drop down real fast. That's
drop down.
Yeah, but other people they like to stay kind of relatively close.
Okay.
I
see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So like I can see 20 pounds not being an issue. So like 185, 205. You just put on an extra 10 pounds. That's fine.
and then just go ahead with it.
Yeah. You're just gonna fight a
I mean,
bigger,
we saw that.
stronger guy.
I mean, that 20 pounds for Connor was tough.
Oh fuck.
He got tired real fast.
Because
That
that's
wasn't
his,
him.
yeah, exactly. That's his natural weight, right? So like he knows how to fight at a lighter weight. So, but when he's fighting at a heavier weight, he's kind of like, I'm not used to all this.
Hmm.
This is how he fights like in the beginning of training camp, right? When he's like
Yeah,
all just
yeah,
like sluggish and everything. So
right, right,
his body wasn't conditioned to fight at that
exactly,
weight. That's the thing.
right.
Um, but yeah, man. Uh, what else is there to talk about? John Jones. The Have you seen the gun video?
What, he
Someone
had
was
a gun?
Yeah, cause someone went into his like driveway and started like trying to open
Okay.
all his doors.
No.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, like this is like a ring footage, and like all of a sudden you
Uh-huh.
hear like the dogs barking, and then next thing you know, the garage door opens.
Okay.
The garage door opens. John Jones starts running out with a shotgun.
No.
Yeah, just running. In my head, I was like,
Oh,
God
man.
damn, John! Like, can you imagine John Jones running at you with a fucking shotgun?
That's crazy, bro.
He chased this guy all the way out. You can see this guy running, and John Jones made a post after saying he's like, I caught up to the guy, like, and I put my gun muzzle, to
Right.
the passenger side of his car. And so he was saying like, I understand times are rough, but don't try to steal just little, like, just petty things. Like, don't try to do like materialistic things. Don't try to be stealing that kind of stuff. It's not worth it.
That's what he was telling them.
Yeah. In my head, I was like, bro, like I said, remember I told you John Jones is a very impulsive person, right?
Yeah.
He's been doing a lot of gun shooting, and so you know he wants to shoot something. The fact that he didn't pull the trigger and shoot this man in the ass, he also said that he's lucky that
Man.
his mom, or he was raised right, to, like he was raised not to fire at a retreating man or something like that.
Okay.
So that's why he did, because the guy was running away. So in a sense, he's kind
He
of like,
was
hey, you're
running
already
away.
leaving,
Right, right.
so I'm not gonna shoot you. But bro, imagine,
Bro,
ooh, that's scary,
that would
bro.
have been a story right there. Imagine
Um,
that.
okay, so since we're talking about guns, what do you think about like gun laws? Like it kind of comes
I was
back to
gonna bring
being
that up when we talked
yeah,
about Biden and stuff too, right? The
yeah,
gun
exactly. I was
law.
gonna say it kind of goes with the whole Biden thing.
Right. And it's on you. I mean, I get why people have them.
Yeah.
I mean, like
What about you
I
personally? Would you
me
like?
personally,
Would you exercise your right or
I could, yeah, I
yeah?
would.
Because
Why not?
Ohio's a
I don't feel the need to. Like
yeah,
I don't feel the need to right now. Doesn't necessarily mean like because I need to have a moment to feel like that. No,
yeah,
some people just have it because they're like, you never know. I
yeah.
think my friend actually told me in Pennsylvania, he was like, I went to my friend's house and I parked my car, and as I was sitting in the car, I hear somebody trying to open. He turned his car off, so the guy didn't know he was still in the car.
Oh
Somebody
my
was trying to break
god!
into his car in the back seat, back
Already?
door. Yeah, and he was in the driver's seat, right? He's sitting in the driver's
Yeah.
seat, and on the right side, here's like somebody picking in the door. I'm thinking like, what is going on? You know, like he's checking, and somebody's really trying to break into his car. So he's like, whether or not I had a gun or not, would he get scared because I was in the car? No, maybe, but at least I had the gun. Who knows if he has a gun? What if this?
True.
Because he actually exercises his right. So he has a pistol on him, and he opened the door like, "What are you doing?" And he had the gun in his hand. The dude ran. So he's like, "That's up to your own interpretation, but like that's why." If you have a gun on you, you can always protect yourself. You never know what
Exactly.
that person might try to do or whatever.
Exactly.
Everybody has their own thought on it, you know, but I think if you're smart with it and you know what you're trying to do, like a lot of people in America,
Exactly.
I'll tell you, because I know friends like from people I've met, and I'm like, why do you have a gun? They're like, you never know if somebody breaks into the house. That's like the
Exactly.
number one answer that people give. It's not like because we're gonna go out and like do some crazy, like there's gonna be some civil war. I got an AR with me to fight people like
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
People
It's
ain't thinking
protection.
it to that level. Yeah. So
No,
many people have a pistol in their bedroom, like
see,
covered up just in case and stuff like that. So
and I agree with that, and I actually do agree with that because you
okay,
just never know. You know what I mean?
what is it in Canada? I actually don't
I
know.
don't
I
even know.
never
I don't know.
like if you can
Um,
have one.
I I'm pretty sure Canada's doing a buyback program with their guns. If you have an AR or whatever, I
But
know.
you can have one. Like you can go
I
and get
think
a
so.
license and have
I
one in
think
your
so.
house.
Yes, yes, I'm pretty sure. Um, but I know
Because
there's
everybody
laws.
boasts.
Pardon?
I was just gonna say everybody boasts about America being that sort of country where like you can have a gun, you can have your
Yeah,
freedom. But like I'm pretty sure you can do that in Canada too. No?
yeah. No, you definitely can, and I think like if you do have guns, like I don't know if you can have a gun for protection. Like I actually don't. I think these are all like hunting.
Oh, right. Like
I
you
think
can't have a pistol on the side of your hip walking into a store, right?
exactly. We don't have an open carry. Like nowhere in Canada has open carry. Like I
Okay.
think it has to
Yeah,
be in
like
your house.
okay.
You know, you can't
I
leave your
see now. Yeah,
house.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
See, like
Um,
here in America, this place I used to work at out in the middle of nowhere. The Dunkin' was out there. People
yeah.
would come in with a thing on their hip every time
You
they
guys have
come in.
open
Like, how's it
carry?
going? It was in Pennsylvania. People walk around in with their pistol on their hip, like, how's it going?
No, thank
How's
you.
it
That's
going? How's it going? I'm
they
like,
they they say it's
I'm
because
doing
like it
all
just
right.
exactly it just shows that's like Wild West culture. It's kind of like they see you have it, they're like, okay, like you're strapped,
Yeah,
okay, I'm
right,
strapped
right.
also. Hello,
Yeah, how's it going?
exactly. Disrespect, quick,
Yeah, pull it out real
pull
quick.
it
I don't
out.
know, man.
Apparently, in some states, you're allowed to still duel. You remember what a duel is?
No,
Where you
don't
have the
tell me that.
gun and you go and you turn and then
Don't tell me they got stuff that,
ap-
bro.
apparently, and some guy killed another guy who was sleeping with his
They
wife.
agree to a duel.
He apparently he shot him and he like so he shot him and everything. He's like, oh yeah, we dueled.
Okay.
So the people get away with that shit apparently.
But you agree with that gun law thing too, right? It's like to
Yeah,
each his own.
to each their own. Exactly. Like if you're in a place where it's kind of like you're in a rough area where it's kind of like maybe you need one, obviously get the fuck out
Well,
of
yeah,
there. But if you can't,
right, right,
maybe you should exercise your right. Be legal about it though.
right,
You know what I mean? That's the thing. You got to be legal about it, and then just because if you're legal about it, then then like you can still protect yourself, fully protect yourself, not just like in the moment. You can still
right.
protect yourself by with law too.
But you know, that comes to that other point of like we're just touching the surface. I know that there's other things that they talk about. Like, for example, if I want to and I exercise my right and I go to like shooting ranges and stuff,
Hmm.
I can have a whole closet full of magazines, rounds of a whole bunch of different types of guns. And I could be strapped up better than a soldier.
True. I don't know if that's like that in
That's
Canada.
a different discussion that right. That's why I'm saying I don't know enough, but I know that that's a big discussion in America because of those school shootings, right? Like kids somehow were able to go get those big guns with a whole bunch of rounds and to do crazy stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, should they be allowed to even buy one like that? Like, should I be able right now to go and I could get like three AK-47s and have them in my closet, and then I can like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have
Hmm.
like three different pistols. I'll put them in my car too. If they're all registered under my name, I got a license and stuff, then I'm straight. Is that okay to do? Like, that's
Um.
where those discussions go a little bit further, you know?
Um. The when you said that like when you have like a closet full of like magazines and guns and everything, did you
Yeah.
and like you're saying because of school shootings, right? Like and like
Yeah.
there's no school shootings in Canada, at least I've heard of. But did you hear about that Nova Scotia mass shooting?
There was one, right? I think I
Yeah.
heard about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Here, so like apparently like this guy had just like a whole like infantry of just if that's the word, but like just of
Yeah.
just guns and bullets and all this stuff and like it was like and he just opened fire for
And that
like
was in Canada, right?
yeah and that was in Canada and like and he just for like what a whole bunch of hours for hours and hours just shooting people, bro. Mm. But yeah,
Hours.
yeah, man, and that's it was like, and that's what they're saying. Like, how is that possible? Like, how does he one have all these guns? How is he shooting for hours? Like, what did anything happen? And like, apparently there's like this whole conspiracy that he was like working with like RCMP and like he just went rogue and like all this stuff.
Mm. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stories like that. I mean, that shooting that happened in I think it was in the my Fort Lauderdale in the airport or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
but it's because the guy was he was part of the army before, and he's still somehow considered like an army. I don't know if he's a veteran or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you're associated with the army, you can have a gun with you through the airport. It's just that they'll check the
Mm.
the the, the casing. It's in a case.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that it had the rounds in it. So
Ooh.
like he can take it on the plane. Yeah, it's in the case, and he gets off the plane with it. But it's because they're trusting him because that's like part of you being part of the army that like you have that respect level, which is crazy
True.
because then he ended up pulling that gun out and he wasn't right, and he started using it. That was, if I want to say the
Oh
story
no.
clearly, that was big.
Bro, okay, so like I wonder it's like do you know how there's like air marshals on the planes apparently? And like they have
Fort
like
Lauderdale airport shooting. My
yeah,
bad,
like
bro. Mass shooting.
that's fucked up. Because I
Near
was gonna say
baggage claim in Terminal 2, 5 people were killed, 6 others were injured. Because
that's
he
so
pulled out
fucked
that
up.
gun that he was able to bring on the plane with him. They
Yeah.
find out that he was Esteban Santiago Ruiz. He was uh, had a gun with him. He
That's
worked for the
sad,
army, so
bro.
he was part of the National Guard, the army. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just like what happened. What did he have? Semi-automatic 9mm handgun with him through baggage claim. He was allowed to
Okay.
because of, like I
Because
said,
it's
that
just a
whole thing.
pistol.
Yeah, then but
Yeah.
he decided to use it on a bunch of innocent people because he
That's
wasn't right
so
in the head.
fucked up, man. And I think you need to go for a
Bro,
psychiatric tests if you want to get a gun. Because the
shouldn't
thing is,
you? I always
yeah,
wonder
well,
that too.
you
You
definitely
have to
should.
because some people look like they don't.
But
Like
some
you know what
people
I'm
look
saying?
like they don't.
They don't, right? It looks like they just get the gun. I'm like, what the heck?
Bro, like I
No
also
test or nothing.
like because if you think about it, like um, this the thing is you can like fake your way through a psychiatric test, but like I feel like there's
You
certain
can't.
people that like you can't bullshit them, right? But
Mm,
and that's the thing though, like if you do take a psychiatric test, like you got to make sure you have the best people that can call out bullshit. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
And then you have to be okay with some flaws
right.
because at the same time you can't know everybody. Like some people you can get fooled sometimes, right? And it happens.
The
But
thing with guns now, though, like whatever discussion they want to say, I just feel like there is no turning back, and
mm-hmm.
they need to figure out how to control what's going on. Like what I mean by no turning back, you can't turn back people. Some people that they can't have guns. That's one thing
Mm-hmm.
for sure. That's always been a discussion too. That's what they tried to put Biden under the bus with too. He's not with the NRA, with the gun associations in
Oh,
America. He's gonna tell us that we can't have our guns. No, because it's impossible to tell everybody you can't have your guns,
people are
and
going
that
to
wouldn't
have
be
it.
the right answer. Yeah. Imagine the person that has a gun, you can tell him not to have a gun. He's gonna point the gun at you. He's gonna be like, "Get out of my face!" Like I'm gonna keep the gun. Like you're screwed at that point, right?
Yeah,
Like
and I think they're kind of like it's in a sense of like okay, you're gonna keep your gun, but you should keep your gun legally, right? You should have a gun
it
legally.
has to, right,
You should
right.
go through some tests so we make sure like because if you think about it, I think gun like current gun owners should be okay with maybe possibly going through psychiatric tests. If
Mm-hmm.
you're not okay with doing it,
You can
that's
have one.
that's I would suspect something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then but the thing is
Exactly.
you guys have to work together. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They gotta be like, okay, if you do this, we gotta do this. Like we can't be like, no, like my way only. But that's always gonna happen. You know what I
Believe in
mean?
that. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
gonna happen.
Right.
Um, but one more thing, like it's one of my random topics. Do you have a cousin in France?
I do.
I'm pretty case because like I can see sometimes like I'll look on like my episodes and like be like, oh, people from this country listen and everything, and it's like some
Oh
from
yeah,
France.
yeah,
It's always from France. I was like, what the hell? Like who?
yeah.
Yeah,
That's funny. Yeah, they
and then I
definitely
think
checked it out. Man.
yeah, and then like I think I saw you post something about one of your cousins like promoting your song.
Sharing that song, and he said it in French, right?
Yes, and I was like, I looked at, it, I was like, I did the whole like hangover when he does the math in his head. I'm just like,
You're
oh
like,
my god, that's who's listening to it in France. Um, did you hear that they're going through another lockdown?
they got a lockdown right now.
Yeah,
That's what's going on.
apparently a bunch of people from
I
France, they
know.
were trying to escape France. They're trying to get out of France before the lockdown happened because they're like, we're not
Because
doing
right
this.
now, oh, I just talked to my family actually last week. Somebody that we're close to from our family. We talked to them on the phone, and they said that they just have. I mean, the lockdown's been the same throughout the whole COVID. You stay at home unless you're gonna go to the grocery store,
Wow.
and you need to have a letter if you need to go anywhere else. If not, you get a fine. Like that's what's going on in Europe.
Damn.
That's how it's been. Like they don't have no open that you go eat places or you go do this or do no. You can only go to the grocery store, and that's about it. You know, like you can't. And that's how they've been dealing with it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so I don't know how much further they went now. Yeah, I have family
um,
in Poland too, so they kind of did this thing where they had three levels and they
mhm.
updated everybody on the daily. Like certain
Nice,
cities, they had
nice.
level one, two, or three, like
Yeah,
green, yellow, or red.
yeah,
If it
yeah,
turned green, you can go to places that you want to go to, but with a mask.
yeah.
That's like the lightest level that they had. Like you still had to wear a mask everywhere, but more places were open. When it got worse this last month, they closed down certain places again, and you have to wear your mask when you're outside at all times. So even if you're
Uh,
walking your dog, or
yeah.
if police walks by and sees you without a mask, you'll get a fine, and they actually do
Damn.
that. In America, they don't do that. Like right
No.
now, when the cases went higher in Ohio, our governor came out and said you need to wear a mask at all times inside. So all restaurants and stuff are still open,
Yeah,
but you need to go in with a mask. If he sent out specific like health inspectors and stuff like that,
yeah,
they're more out there checking. If they go in and nobody and one person, if only one person is not wearing a mask, you'll get a strike, and
yeah.
they'll check you multiple times again. If another person is found without a mask, they'll close you for 24 hours.
Oh
So
shit.
that's what they're doing here right now. Yeah.
Um,
I still haven't seen nobody come in though.
yeah.
You know, like
Um, what was it? Did you hear about Elon Musk with the whole like
COVID thing
he had like four tests, two of them came negative,
or
two of them
that.
came positive. So like honestly that kind of tripped me out. And that sounds kind of like I feel like different I think everyone's taking COVID. They're like I remember how we were talking about people are
Their
taking
own
like
way.
people their own way and like their own way of like looking at everything. They're kind of like, no, I'm right.
Hmm.
I feel like people, like different people and different doctors are doing the same thing, and no one can fucking come to a conclusion and like be on the same
Yeah,
page. Where this is where all this like negatives and positives are coming from. Do you know what I mean?
right.
Like I just think because no one's on the same page, that's why there's so much confusion as to like
So
negatives and
much
positives,
confusion. Hmm.
and there's so much being held away, and like they're just like you're overdoing it here, you're underdoing it here. Do you know what I mean? It's just it's so messed up, bro. And I pray to God that this ends soon. Like, and I don't think it's going to end soon. I think next year, mid next year, like summer, hopefully it opens up. That's what I hear. Like, when I hear listen to podcasts and
Yeah,
stuff, that's what they're saying. But I personally think masks should always be a thing, low key.
I that's what I think is. I just talked to somebody about that. He used to work at a restaurant. One of my friends. He said that I actually think it makes sense now if they look at it about wearing masks at restaurants, right? Like
Mm,
then now people actually feel more secure. Like I feel now, even with COVID, it's better to eat out than ever before.
yeah,
You know, before this whole COVID thing, there's always a chance that people are sneezing in your food,
yeah,
you know, not washing their hands, touching food without gloves,
yeah,
all this. But now when this whole thing happened and more inspectors come around, because
yeah. It
I know I
encourages
deal with it now.
cleanliness.
You have to wear gloves when you're dealing with people.
Yeah,
We have sanitizer and soap everywhere. Before
yeah,
you had like one sanitizer thing, but they would tell us not to use sanitizer because washing your hands with soap is better.
yeah,
But now on top of that, you wash your hands and you sanitizer right after, and you put on gloves,
yeah,
and you have a mask, and people are happy that you know you're like fully protected when you're giving them food.
yeah.
So like,
I was
yeah,
gonna say,
what was I gonna say?
do you feel like this kind of like because you see the pushback in it, right? You see like the
Mhm.
like people like no, like I don't want to wear a mask all the time, like all this stuff. Doesn't it kind of show how dirty people are actually?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? We're just asking you to like to just do these certain things.
yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I never liked sanitizing my hands when I went into a store because the sanitizer
Me
that
neither.
they gave me smelled like absolute like ass. Like
Strong and it's nasty.
oh
Yeah, I
my
know what you're
god, it
talking
smelled
about.
It's so disgusting. It's not the same. It says
Right.
Purell, but I have a small thing of Purell. I know what that smells like. It's not the same. And that's when
Same.
like I remember in the beginning of COVID, and I was like, why isn't the hand sanitizer that I've always been using till this
Right.
day change once COVID
Hmm.
hits? It's not the same anymore. It's completely different.
Right.
So
Yeah.
what the hell's go like? It literally tripped me out for a little bit, and I was like, what's go like? It didn't make sense. I was going through this whole conspiracy rabbit hole, and I was like, I need to get myself out of that because I'm not gonna go anywhere with that.
Well, the thing I got a theory for you too,
Okay.
conspiracy,
Okay.
and this is coming from my personal experiences, like about what is considered germs and like how you should
Okay.
sanitize yourself and this and that. I've been working around people, food, and money, and you touching dirty people all the time, and
Mhm.
there's dirty money, and you're busy. And like, I wouldn't have time to always wash my hands every single time. You forget,
Right.
right?
Right.
You
Right.
do certain things, you forget.
Yeah.
I eat food with those hands that I've been touching money and touching other people's hands when I'm in
Yeah.
contact with them, da da da. And I always felt that like your body is trying to fight with the outside world, right?
Yeah.
And people from other countries, why they have such a strong immune system is because they've dealt with even more germs than anybody else. And
True.
like, let's say like like maybe Europe or let's say, America, Canada, like we think about those things, right? It's
Mhm.
like way different of a culture. This whole thing about keeping so sanitized is like to the extreme level where like your body is not dealing with the real world
Yeah.
enough. And I
It's when
kind
you
of
overuse it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
when you're overusing it. And there's really an overusage because we have to do it every single time. And I feel
Yeah.
like falling into that whole thing where it's like your body's not dealing with all the real world stuff as much because of this whole COVID thing. Like what if when we are done with this COVID thing, we get a vaccine and we're moving forward? Like, are people going to keep doing that because they got into a habit of it?
Mhm.
Or are they going to go back to their ways and just be like, it's not necessary all the time? There's obviously a cleanliness and a hygiene thing that comes with it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying to that certain level, like, I feel like that extreme level, I think there's even stuff written about it. People have like OCD or like have
Yeah.
these like
Yeah.
germaphobes and stuff.
Howie Mandel.
Very, yeah, they can get sick very easily.
Very easily. Yep. It's because your body's not used to like like it's kind of like a natural vaccine to like nature, right? Which
Right,
you have, right?
right.
So like you get used to all this stuff, and I agree. Like I think overdoing it is gonna because they say don't overwash your hands because like you'll dry your hands out. Like they
That's
don't say
also a thing, right?
don't wash your hair too much because like the natural oils that need to come through won't come through. You know what
Yep,
I mean?
yep.
So like
Right, right.
same thing with being clean. And since you got to be a little like you gotta let yourself get a little bit dirty.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
And it's
mean?
not, yeah, and people
But
get that confused. Like, it's not about getting dirty.
exactly.
It's just like it's
I
the
say yeah,
normal
yeah.
things that we all have to deal with, right? Like,
Exactly. Like I
I
don't gotta
think,
sanitize my hands if I'm going to the next room. You know what I mean? Right? Like
right, right. And that's what gets me crazy because I'm at work and when the inspectors come in, like we have certain things to constantly do it. Like
yeah.
literally, like gave money to a guy, wash my hands, sanitize, and put on gloves. I'm dealing with customers, dealing. If I'm touching another bag and then I do it like too many times over, like touching money, I gotta take the gloves off. But now that I took the gloves off, it's like as if I touched that germs with my hands. So I gotta wash my hands, sanitize, and put gloves on again. And yeah, dries your hands like you're doing it too much. I feel like it's just
Yeah.
you start going crazy. You know what I mean?
I think so. And like and especially working with food and stuff, like yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't be wanting to wash my like I get washing my hands. Maybe like rinse your hands. You know what I mean? Just
It has to be something, man. I'm
you know what I
telling
mean?
you.
Like,
Like
maybe don't use soap every time because, like you said, like use soap too much. Like, when I put hand sanitizer on, I try not to like, cause you see people they put it like on the tops of their hands. I'm like, why
oh,
put it on the
right,
top?
right,
Why put it on the top? Like sometimes I'm like, why put it on top of your hands if you're touching stuff? You know what I mean?
yeah,
So that's why I keep it like this, and then like my hands, I like they'll
right.
get less dry now. You know what I mean? If I don't put it on
Okay.
top of my hands. So like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I agree. Like, I wonder if this is like kind of in a way, it's saying like, yeah, you're making yourself like healthier or like you're defending yourself from like sickness, but in
Hmm.
reality, your immune system is actually getting worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That conspiracies.
Conspiracy theories.
Uh, um. Okay.
Is this leading up to aliens?
Yeah, and this is when we come to aliens, bro. Okay. Bro, I have so many. Oh, actually, wait. You know what? Okay, no. There's one more thing I want to talk about.
Yeah.
Because you remember we were talking about like making more money and all that stuff, and like people would rather make more money than like do good and all that stuff, right? Talk about
Hmm.
that. The new iPhone. What do you think about it?
It's all right.
Right? Okay. Like obviously, like the thing is always like, oh, there's nothing different. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
the,
exactly.
you know,
That's why I
they say
looked
that.
at you like that. Like, I think me and
The,
you both know what we think about it.
oh, 100%. Am I gonna get it? Probably. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, if I get
why
a
not?
chance, I get it. Yeah.
I'm not getting it to be like, oh my god, I have it. Like, I think
I
for
got
me,
a
it's more
new
just like,
iPhone.
it's not even like that. It's more just like, I'm like, and I think for me, it's more of just like I can get it without hurting myself. You know what I mean? Like, without
Yeah.
hurting my financial situation. I can get it without hurting my financial situation. Why not? You know what I mean?
Hey, I think of it like if you use your phone a lot, and the
Yeah,
new phones have better technology, like slightly better technology, but it's also not as slow. The more you use your phone, there's gonna be things that happen to it.
exactly. And if you
So,
think about it too, like I have the 8 Plus right now,
okay,
and I'm using the 8 Plus to record my visual for my YouTube. So imagine if I
then
have
it's
the
fine,
12
right?
now. You know what I mean? Imagine if I have the 12 now. I'm gonna have a way better
It's
camera,
better.
right? So in a sense,
Yeah,
like it's like an
for
investment
you,
into
it
my own
works.
thing. Exactly. So like that's why I'm kind of like I don't feel so like kind of like stupid for buying it because like if there's like no difference, right?
Right.
Um, but like I you hear people talking about it, but how would you feel if and you know how Apple is like made, right? All these phones are made, right? Through like improper like slave labor pretty
Oh
much,
yeah, the
right?
slave labor that I was talking about. Yeah.
Um how would you like would you buy a phone cuz apparently there's a phone like this where like it's a little bit more expensive but the software is a little bit like not up to date, right?
But it's made in America or something.
I think so, and like, it's like not non-slave labor, I think, or something like that. Like, but it's a little
Okay.
bit more expensive. Would you get it, or would you pay a little bit less money, but um,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? But it's
You know
it's
what's
slave labor.
crazy about that though? Because I know
What?
what you're trying to say, right? Like, because
Yeah,
we were talking about that whole McDonald's and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
You're trying to say like it goes both ways because we don't want to hurt ourselves with the food, so that would be the argument.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're hurting other people in the process of getting something we want in terms of
Exactly.
technology.
Yeah.
Or what about clothes? Does that go into the same
Yeah.
picture,
No
right?
clothes. Listen, I'm from Bangladesh, bro. Okay. You know, like that, like a lot of H&M clothes. A lot of the clothes that I
Right.
actually buy
Yeah, it says made there, right?
it's made there, right? So like even like you kind of feel and you hear about these sweatshops that like crumble because like they're it's just those the quality of the building is so bad and all these people that you're like,
Right.
oh fuck, you feel so bad, right?
Mm.
So like and like that's why I kind of agree, like in a sense I think they should keep working, like they should keep working, but take care of them. Like they're doing you a favor. Why don't you take care of them? You make so much money. Why don't you take care of them? Do you know what I mean? Like they have to put
And
like
they should
in
find a way to do that, right? There
exactly
should
like
definitely be a way.
in China they have to put like nets around these places where people live and they also work. They put nets
Because
around
they
because
try
people
to
keep
kill
jumping
themselves.
off.
Hmm.
So like you don't think at that point you'll just be like, oh fuck, like okay, we don't want to do let this happen.
We need to build a better net. No.
It's like why are you spending so much money on the net? Just borrow them in.
Coming up with better strategies for them to not kill themselves. Okay.
Exactly. No, but like, and that kind of goes with what we were saying before. Like, why can't you just make a little bit less money and pay these people well? Like, iPhone
Mm.
is worth like, like in the trillions, I think.
I mean,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Apple is worth in the trillions, and like
How about even Nike?
Nike too, right? You know what I mean? Like all these big companies, like
You
you
know that whole thing that's been going on with Nike,
no,
right? Like that whole topic. Well, because they also treat people, right? Like that's
hey, wait,
also been
wait,
a thing. Like, don't
you're
buy Nike.
you're you're cutting in and out, and I feel like this is
Okay.
something I really really need to hear because I love Nike.
Right. You hear me?
Hey, I got you. Go ahead.
No, what? Because I like Nike too, right? I like Nike too.
Yeah. Oh, represent, bro.
But
I was kind of worried. I was like, yo, I gotta put this on YouTube.
yeah, so but the thing is, I got like a Nike tat down there.
Yeah.
Um, the thing is, they got up in sales after that whole little craze of people wanting to put out documentaries and talks about how Nike workers are treated, da da
Oh
da, how
yeah.
they really do stuff. It was a little bit, but then afterwards, boom, it's like forget about all that. We like Nike though. Everybody's gonna go to Nike. Nike shops are
True.
still booming, right? We want
Yeah.
all the Jordans, we want all this, we want the matching sweatsuits, da da da.
Yeah.
Nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares.
That's
But like, what are we supposed to do? It's like because we like the clothes and it's a trend, and then it's like a little bit of boost from Drake doing all the stuff he's doing with
yeah.
Nike, so then
Yeah.
that makes other people want more with it. Like, there's a whole lot that goes into it that it's like I feel
Like
like we're just gonna keep doing it until something like really bad happens, right? That's what
yeah.
we always tend to do as humans.
Yeah. And like that's what I'm saying. Like I just like for
Sounds so
example,
bad to say, but like,
yeah. But
why
that's
is it like
unfortunately a lot of people learn like that, right? Something has to happen and then you finally like kind of like, oh shit, my bad.
yeah?
Like I did like,
And it
oh, I
does.
see it now. But like it's
We're
sad
not even
because
trying to say
like
that because we don't care about them, but it's like that's how the world works, and there's so many things we don't know about, like what's going on behind the scenes. So it's like
exactly.
we're still gonna buy it. We're still gonna do it.
Exactly. But okay, like it's really messed up. Like, but like, do you think that like if they made better facilities, they paid the people better, like, do you think the price of the product will go up higher?
How much more can it go up, man? Nike's making so much money off of us. Their clothes
That's
are expensive
that's
still.
what I'm saying. Like you're already making so much,
Like,
but that's where it comes in, where you just want to make more money. It doesn't matter. Like, hey, if I'm making 1 million, but I can make 1.2 million if I just like
mhm.
pop these prices a little bit up. Fine, let's do it. Instead of saying
Because they know
I'm
people will buy it because it's Nike.
exactly, but like, but what they can do is just be like, okay, like I'm risking 0.2 million, so like I'm risking $200,000, but people are still buying it, but my stock is just gonna go up slowly, right? Obviously, that's how it would
Hmm.
go, right? But if you think about it, don't you think if it was more affordable, then a lot more people are gonna buy it? So like, yeah, like your stock is still gonna go up, right? But do you think it's because if more people are starting to buy it, you have to make a lot more, so that means like you might like run out of like one or the other. Does that make sense? What I'm trying to
Hmm.
say?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like, do you think that's what's
I
going
see
on?
what you're
Because
saying.
if that's the case, then I kind of understand. But at the same time, like the work conditions, like at least put money into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But like I said, it just people if they have the like you said, like we both said actually, if you have the chance to make more money, you're just gonna do it. Why? Because you
right.
can make more money. It doesn't matter if you're doing the right thing or not.
Did you see that episode with Hassan talking about clothes? He had the show on TV. He's like a comedian.
No.
And, his name is Hassan Minhaj. Hassan Minhaj. He's on Netflix. The Patriot Act. That was his
Oh,
like
oh, yeah,
show.
yeah, yeah. No, okay, I know the guy. Yeah, yeah.
The Ugly Truth of Fast Fashion. That was one of his episodes.
Okay.
You should really see that. It's actually really good, and he
Yeah,
breaks it down about all these places. Fast fashion, like with H&M, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
hurting people, like how you said in Bangladesh and all these
yeah.
places, but it's good for them because they make money off of it. They make new fashion designs like once a month, keep sending it in. They can't even keep up because like
Yeah.
they know the more new stuff they put out, people that are into fashion, they're gonna be like, well, I need to buy a new thing because that's the new thing that people are gonna wear, right?
Right.
And constantly push out more clothes, but it's hurting other people in the back end and it's hurting the planet. Like there's a whole thing about it.
Right.
But it all goes back to like, well, people still want to buy clothes because it doesn't matter because in the world we live in, this matters, right? Of us
Yeah.
buying something new to feel good about it, to show, to show it to the world, like people that have to be Instagram influencers or their, and it keeps going from there. Like you can't stop that,
Mm-hmm.
from no matter what damage it's doing to the world. Those companies are trying to do good. Like H&M now started doing something where like they reuse a lot of the clothes, or their clothes is made out of materials that's reusable,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
not hurting the planet as much. It's like it still does. Like they
yeah.
said, the amount of clothes that they make is not even enough to like for people to wear. Like there's like an extremely
The high
there's
demand.
too much clothes. No, there's too much
Oh, too
clothes
much
being made.
clothes.
We're not
And then
even
okay,
keeping up
okay,
with it.
okay, okay, okay,
The
okay, okay,
amount of
okay.
clothes that you have, the amount of clothes that I have,
Yeah,
it doesn't even compare to how much they're actually making if you count up the population of the world. Like
yeah,
it's an extreme, it's like too much. You know what I'm saying? And it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
it would come from us as a human race to be like, we don't need this many clothes. We could probably live off of just a small amount that we constantly wash over and over again until we need new ones.
Mm-hmm.
We could save our planet in that way, you know? But
That's true.
that's not how it works, right? That goes back to the whole McDonald's thing. That's not how
Yeah,
the world works. People go fast. They got places to go. They don't have time to cook. We're gonna still
yeah,
eat McDonald's. You know, like
exactly.
I don't have enough money to go to Whole Foods. I'm gonna keep eating McDonald's to give me coupons and it's cheaper.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
it's
just
fucked
how
up
it
how
goes.
like healthy stuff is more expensive than like unhealthy stuff, right?
Right.
Like, how does that make sense? You
I
listen,
got a bag of
I'm gonna
chips
go use
right
the
now
bathroom
from
real quick.
Whole
I'll be right
Foods.
back.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bag of chips from Whole Foods.
Go ahead, go ahead. Yes, sir.
What up? All right. Um, what were we talking about? People just making more money.
Everybody's making more money.
Everybody's making more money. All right. So, okay, now we're gonna get into aliens. All right.
Uh-oh.
All right. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell you a quick alien story I heard. It's like like the CIA or like the Pentagon, whatever. They like released stories about like
Oh yeah.
alien encounter.
That
So
actually, right.
that
Like
actually
that is
happened and stuff.
legit.
Yeah. The Russia did the same thing, right? So one of them that I saw, that was so. This is so scary.
It's not scary, bro. Uh,
Listen, do you know why it's scary? Because I'm afraid of big bodies of water. Okay,
oh,
like the
okay.
deep
Let's
blue
see
sea
this.
terrifies me.
Yeah.
You know what I
Like
mean?
what? Like being on a boat out there, like flying over it, or like
No,
anything.
I can be on a boat out there, whatever. Like but like me being in, right, kind of like freaks me out. Like if it was like really bad waves, that would freak me out.
You're just in the middle of it, right?
Bro, right, that would freak me out. Like I remember,
That's probably giving you anxiety just thinking about it.
it is because it's bringing back some PTSD shit right now. So what
Oh
happened is
no.
that Rochelle and I went to Dominican for our 10-year anniversary, right?
Okay.
And then we went snorkeling. So when we went in, I have a big fear of big bodies of water. So we just drove. The boat just drove. It just, yeah, whatever, to the middle of the water, and then we went to this spot, and then we just like posted there, and then we went into the water and went snorkeling.
Okay.
I remember going in there and like I'm like hyperventilating at this point, and like I'm like swallowing, I'm like swallowing fucking salt water.
No.
You remember from Miss Derry's class, that guy that like was at sea, and then like I don't know if you remember this. We had like a whole case study about it. Do you remember it?
Damn, you remember something long ago. What
Hell
was it
yeah.
about?
So
Man,
the
I don't
guy,
even remember that.
so the guy would like, he like drank seawater by accident, not accident because he was like stranded in water, blah blah blah.
Right, right.
Killed some people, and then all this stuff, right? Um, so do you remember Bradley Henstock?
Uh-uh.
Shout out Bradley.
My
He
memory's shot.
he his group came up because like you have to defend this guy in court. They pleaded insanity because when you drink seawater, like it like because of all the salt and everything, you can actually like go crazy, like,
Oh.
right? So that was really smart. So when I was drinking that in my head, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna go crazy! Like I'm hyperventilating." Rochelle just goes like, "Just relax." She like we turned, I turned back and like I'm just like breathing, and then once I caught my breath, I put the snorkel back and like I turned and I just like relaxed. It was so pretty, but like because I was in like the open body of water, I was like freaking out.
Like just
Um,
seeing that like there was nothing else around like that was tweaking you out.
Kinda, yeah. And like
Yeah.
I'm in like, bro, anything can happen. Like, what if something grabbed my
Right.
ankle? What I'm gonna do? Punch it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, so yeah, so like, Russian submarine. They were down there, and like, they were not they're like a research team. So
Interesting.
they dove down, and they're trying to like do some discovery or whatever. Like they're like looking for some stuff, and then all of a sudden, as they're like looking, they they saw like a craft, a ship. So do you know how like you see these videos of like they say like it can move with like no like it just moves around like this
Mhm.
like with no problem? It can do that in the water too. Okay? So that's what
They seen something moving crazy.
yes, it does that in the water, Yassine. The water is not forgiving to us, to our like crafts. It's not forgiving. But this person can
Yeah.
just this whatever this craft is just moving around like it's nothing, right? And like apparently it moves really fast still, like going through and everything. But they saw that, whatever, and all of a sudden they're just like looking more, and all of a sudden they see like these like 8 foot tall like beings just like
Okay.
behind them, just watching them. They're just chilling there, just watching them.
What?
Ooh, Yassine, I was hearing the
That's
story,
real.
and then like you know what I mean. Like I'm just like, what the
That's
fuck?
legit.
But it's from the Russian like it's a document from the Russian that they released. They unclassified
Mm.
it. So do you know what I'm saying? So they're saying what happened was like these people. It wasn't like these people were like stalking them. They were just watching them. They're just chilling and just watching. It's like, what are you doing? So it's pretty much like 9 or 7 of the beings, like those like aliens, and there's like 7. I think it was an even number of like humans to aliens.
Okay.
So they're just kind of like looking, it's like what the fuck's going on? Like what's going on? These goddamn Russians try to capture one of them.
Try to
And
figure it out, right?
they're
Grab
like, oh
one.
shit, like, yeah, like, okay, grab one, let's capture it. So as they're like tussling and everything, they felt like this pressure just zoom these guys up to the top, right? And you know what they say, like when you're like deep sea diving whatever, and you have to go up slowly or else you can get I can't remember what it's called, like, but like
Yeah, yeah. Like
you get too much
it's
nitrogen or
pressure, right?
something. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the pressure fucks you up, and like like a good amount of them died, and the others like had really really bad complications.
Mm.
So um what they're saying too is like, did those aliens purposely like shoot them up, or like did the alien mean to kill them? Like, what do you mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, do they
Mm.
understand that
When
if
they
you
were on, so that was an aircraft that they were on, or like a
no,
boat craft, or
they're
whatever you want to call it.
underwater, bro.
I know they're underwater, but I'm saying like the alien craft. That's like a thing that can fly and be underwater, like it does
Yeah,
everything, or like
yeah,
what is that?
yeah.
That's what they were saying. That it's
Yeah.
like,
It moves. It moves. However it moves in the sky, it moves in the water. You know what I mean? So
I thought they were in
obviously,
a submarine. How did they get shot up? They
so
came
like
out the submarine in the water.
no. So
Just
like
to
they
see
were
what's going on.
yeah like they were outside the they're in the water swimming like looking for
Oh,
stuff.
when they were
You know what I mean?
seeing this,
Exactly. So when they went to catch them, they were like physically trying to catch them.
and then
So
they ended up getting shot up because they had that ability to with their craft, whatever that was,
or whatever weapon they had on them, they're able to just like with force just shoot these guys up. But like
shoot them up,
yeah, so like in the one of
bro.
the things they're saying is, did they know that what did they know that doing that would kill them, or there was it more of just like a defense, like get away from me, like I know this is
Yeah,
not gonna kill you because I'm just pushing you away really hard, but I don't know that if I push you straight up that you're gonna die like that, or that's really bad for you. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So like hearing that, bro, and I heard, oh man, that's ooh, I'm even more scared
crazy.
of the big body of water now.
If there's stuff like that out there, right?
Exactly, and like, and then I don't know if you remember the TikTok video that like the Commander Fravor was talking about it on like Rogan's podcast and like Lex Friedman's podcast. He was saying that like the TikTok that That ship was on like right at the water, on top of the water, and it was like kind of over top something else that was kind of above water but not, right? So like it was moving around it. So that's like, but once that Tic Tac looked, that thing went away.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So like maybe there are stuff underwater. It's easier to hide underwater, right?
It is easier to, yeah.
Right. So okay, that's that.
Water.
This will definitely kind of go with um the underwater thing. Okay, but I'm gonna give you. Oh wait, I actually have some more stuff that I want to talk about. Um, you know what, we can talk. You want?
Claim.
No, this is actually about police stuff, but we can talk about that after.
Okay. I was just
Um,
looking up that spacecraft thing in the water
yeah, see if you can find it.
because I'm looking. I mean, I'm trying to see like what they're assuming it looks like.
Look up Russian underwater um alien
Declassifies close encounters.
counter. Disclassified. Great catch by Phil Ewing at Navy Times Scoop Deck blog. The Russian Navy has just declassified its records of Cold War UFO sightings. So back in the 40s and like 50s. This was back in the 70s, I think. This story is like the 40s and the
Mm.
70s, around that time. Um, so it turns out 50% of UFO encounters are connected with oceans.
No.
15% more with lakes. So UFOs tend to stick to the water.
Oh.
Get the fuck out of here. What?
Oh, man.
On several occasions, the instruments gave readings of material objects moving at incredible speed. A sub-commander recalled calculations showed speeds of about 230 knots or 400 kilometers per hour. What?
And they just go like that.
Yeah, like nothing.
Bro, that was the biggest plot twist ever if it's just like things that we want to look for out in
Mhm.
space has nothing to do with all the stuff we should be finding out within our own planet in the water.
Mhm.
Right?
Hey, wait. Sorry, say that one more time. I was reading this one thing.
I said the biggest plot twist would be how we're all looking for stuff in space, but yet we really have something going on in the water that we still haven't found out
Yeah,
about.
because there's a bunch of like area in the water we haven't discovered yet, like the
We
Marianas
haven't even
Trench and everything.
discovered. We
You
don't
know what I
even know
mean?
what's going on in the water.
See, yeah, okay. So the one alleged incident in 1982, I think I'm pretty sure this one's talking about. 3 Navy diver
Okay.
trainees reportedly died pursuing what survivors described as a group of humanoid creatures dressed in silvery suits in Baikal, in the world's deepest lake. So it's in a lake, bro.
Mm-mm.
What the fuck is this? But yeah, bro. Like, I'm telling you, like, when I heard that, waters are a no-no for me sometimes.
Even tsunamis.
So, right? Okay, so what one thing I do hear though, and like I do not hear, I do read and I do see, and I also do hear it, obviously.
Here, see it.
All these stories of like the UAPs, right? The unidentified aerial phenomena.
Oh, yeah.
When you hear it from other countries that aren't like the States and everything, they always think it's like so like the Americans sometimes think it's either the Chinese or the Russians, right?
Right, right.
Like, is it them? But then the Chinese and the Russians and like everyone else is like, oh, is this like the Americans? Like, did they come up with something? I think I already told you, right? Apparently, the Americans can fly these kind of like the ones that they've captured and they figured out how to fly it. They don't know how it works, but they figured out how to do it.
Hmm.
And apparently, there's a lot of staged abductions and stuff.
And you think they're staged?
There's military personnel saying some of them are staged, and
Wow.
he's been a part of some of the staged ones.
He's been a part of them.
Like
So now, do we believe those personnel?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I trust military only because of the fact that like I feel like you're trained to say no. You know what I mean? What good would you have to say that there is? You're gonna lose your shit.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So in a sense, I'm kind of like, you have more to lose saying something than not saying something. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So for you to say something, I can see the seriousness behind it, if that makes sense. Okay.
This is crazy.
Bro, okay, ready? So I have this. And then I have these 2 pages. And then a little bit back here. But
You sure you don't want to make a whole podcast about that?
oh, I'm not going through the whole thing. Like I'm gonna talk about it, and like we're talking about certain parts, and then the next one I'm gonna bring way more information and then like way more theories and stuff. We're just gonna talk about it just so we can like kind of plant seeds for the next one.
Yeah. Okay.
So have you heard of what the Anunnaki are? Have you heard of them?
Anunnaki.
You've heard of the
And
Anunnaki?
he was talking about, right? From Graham Hancock was talking about.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. So it's a race of beings that were mentioned by the Sumerians, the Babylonians, the Assyrians, and the Akkadians. So these are civilizations that we already know are real, right? The Sumerians are actually one of the first recorded civilizations. Right, the Sumerians. These are the ones that are like they're the ones that
first civilizations, right?
One of the first civilizations to be recorded, like that we know of. They actually they like worship the Anunnaki. Okay.
Oh.
So the Sumerians, they were in Mesopotamia. All right, do you know where that is?
Right. Yeah, somewhere close to like
Iraq.
Up by Egypt, Iraq, all
Iraq,
right?
Right? So like that, the Middle East area, right?
Yeah.
So it's funny because I remember in grade 4, grade 5, I did a project on the Mesopotamians.
Mesopotamians, I think a lot of people did.
Right? So I remember doing that, and all of a sudden I'm like now coming back to this, I was like, oh my god, everything makes full circle kind of.
Right.
The Sumerians were living in Mesopotamia around 4500 BC. Okay. They were actually like an advanced civilization, like compared to where they were in at the time.
Yeah.
They were way advanced. All right. They were actually they left records of astronomical observations.
Okay.
They actually have a picture. See, I want to see if I can show you the picture. Actually, wait, Sumerian tab. Wait, Sumerian solar system. They like showed the solar system before like people can like
actually visualize it, right?
Before you can actually visualize, and they have it properly here.
Wow.
It's weird. One sec. Dun, dun. Can you see my screen?
No. I think you need to remove maybe me in the middle.
Is it like dark?
Everything is just gray. There's nothing there.
How about now?
Nothing.
Damn. Okay, you know what? I'll show you.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Just tell me what you type in. I can look it up.
Yeah, look up Sumerian solar system.
Okay. Yeah. And you're talking about the one that's engraved in like a rock?
Yeah, exactly. And you'll see it right there, right?
Oh yeah. They got the sun, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, and they're talking about like the
and they added their own planet on there also.
Yeah, Nibiru.
The Anunnakis.
What was it called?
Nibiru.
I don't know. Nibiru. Yeah.
Okay. So it says here, did I'm looking up a thing. It says, did the Sumerians know about the solar system? About 3 millenniums before the ancient Greek astronomers, the more ancient Sumerians knew about our solar system and documented it on clay tablets with cuneiform writing and drawing of the solar system. So like that picture you see,
Bro,
okay?
that's tweaked.
Right? Okay. So like you can understand like the fun aspect, okay?
Yeah,
So
this is crazy.
they developed the plow. Okay, you know what the plow is, right? Like when you're
Yeah.
farming. They created the
Uh-huh.
plow. They also developed time. So like the breakdown of the 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes in an
They
hour,
developed that.
they developed it. They came up with, and then the 12 months in
Bro,
a year, they came up with the whole system.
so you're telling me that right now everything that we know how we live life is because of the Sumerians?
It's not because of the Sumerians, but because we are taught that it was the Greek that did it, that came up with it. But the Sumerians are actually the ones that came
Are
up
they
with it.
actually the ones? So that's what I'm saying. So we gotta give credit to them. That's why everything is the way it is.
Exactly. So, like, bro, you have to listen to this fucking timeline because like it's tripping me out because it falls in line with a lot of things. Okay, so um, so yeah, so they did it. They okay. What does it say here? They found 500,000 tablets, like of their records, but they've only been able to translate like a small amount of them.
Okay.
Okay, so okay, you know Babylonian time, right? So here, let's look up when Babylonian time was.
When they were around, you mean?
Yeah, when was the Babylonian?
Babylonian Empire?
Yeah,
Babylon.
626 BC. Okay, the Sumerians were considered ancient to the Babylonians.
Mm.
Okay, so
Okay, which makes sense.
right, because it just shows how old they were, right? Like the how
Yeah,
old their
yeah.
civilization is, right? Um, so like I said, that's who the Sumerians are. The Sumerians, they worship the Anunnaki. All right. So the Anunnaki, they originate from that planet called Nibiru. All right. So
Okay.
they say Nibiru it's kind of in our it has like a 3,600 year like cycle when it comes into Earth's like kind of atmosphere type thing, or like our solar system.
Mm.
All right.
Okay.
So um apparently the Anunnaki came to Earth to mine for gold because their planet like the atmosphere was eroding because of the sun and the heat and everything, right?
Oh,
So they came to Earth to get gold because gold is apparently a good they believe that gold is a good source of like helping them, okay?
okay.
So the Anunnaki arrived over 400,000 years ago.
Oh,
This is the
four
story,
hundred
okay?
thousand.
Okay? And it kind of works out with like it kind of works out with like human beings and like cavemen and like the evolution
Mm-hmm.
of man, okay?
Right.
um so when they came here they brought a servant race called the Igigi.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna sound super freaky, okay? This sounds like a crazy story, but it's crazy, okay? The Igigi were it was like a servant race that they used for their labor. All right, this is before humans were created, right?
No cavemen or nothing.
No cavemen, no nothing, not yet. Okay, so the Igigi were used. People mistaken the Igigi for the Anunnaki, but there's a class difference, right? So the Igigi are a different type of species.
Right.
So after 2,500 years of labor, all right, the Igigi they rebelled against the Anunnaki, and they targeted like a specific one whose his name is Enlil, Enlil.
Okay.
Um, so he is like one of the Anunnaki beings. All right, his name and another name is kind of important.
Okay.
Enlil was the one that was in charge of the Igigi. So they all kind of went like looked up to him. He was their ruler.
Right. Okay.
So they were just sick of it. They were fighting back against them. So the Anunnaki got together and they're kind of like, what do we do? Um, so they came up with a solution to create another being. All right. So like maybe replace the Igigi, right?
Okay.
I gotta change my notes.
All right.
Enlil had a brother named Enki, Enki. Enki was the one that said maybe we should make a new race of people that can do our work for us and maybe not fight against us. So, okay, what is your understanding on how man was made, like human?
What's my understanding? You went two different deep places. Now I don't know where to even say.
like in
All
like the
right,
Quran
just
and
so we
everything.
can continue on with the story, right? Like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
so I say like Adam and Eve.
yeah,
Definitely somebody had been brought down here with some sort of intention to have humans on this earth for sure. However
yeah,
it is.
yeah. So like, and they say like God created man by with clay, right? We're made from the ground, right?
Okay.
So they say that Enki used clay and his own blood to create humans.
Oh,
The reason why he used his own blood was because it's trust me, it's absolutely some wildness. I'm trying to see some truth and some craziness. You know what I mean? I'm trying to like look at it in different perspectives, right?
no, but I'm definitely taking this what you're saying, and I'm tweaking myself out now just thinking about it.
Cause you know the story from what you've been told growing up, and then you're kind of trying to piece it. Wait, keep listening because it gets crazier, okay? And it'll piece together like what you've learned growing up as a Muslim, because you know what I mean. Like I feel like that's where it's coming
Yeah,
from too.
yeah,
So
yeah.
um he did it so it's just so this race can be more divine like them because they're like high creatures, right? Like they
Yeah.
have these powers and like they have this technology, like, right? So in a sense,
Okay.
it's like if I make them a this, they're gonna be kind of like us, so it's gonna be okay. Um, but the Anunnaki, they disguise themselves as fish humans, lion humans, bird humans, and other creatures, like so these people can worship them. Okay.
Okay.
Um.
Oh my God.
So do you know how I just said like fish humans, lion humans, bird humans? You know all these things, and so doesn't that kind of remind you? Okay, wait. Before I continue, let me continue all this, and then we'll get back to this
Yeah,
because you might see the
bro.
connection and see where I'm kind of like I've connected it, but I'm just kind of like, what the hell kind of connection is this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Um. So as they created a portal in Mesopotamia that can
A
transfer
portal.
the it transfers the gold that they mined back to Nibiru,
How,
right? So they have this portal, okay? Bro, ooh, okay.
bro?
Um, so what ended up happening as the humans populated and stuff, right? As humans populated, they got more and more. Each Anunnaki took a group of humans, and they went to different parts of the world.
Hmm.
So when they went there, they had
Created a human race, and then they just split them, put them in different places on the planet.
exactly. So and then every Anunnaki,
Bro,
right? So every Anunnaki, they had their own different ways of religion, buildings, writing, what else I have written down here? Um,
they're saying that the Anunnakis created the humans to have different thoughts.
so see, that's what the thing is. Like, why did they create us? Like, what is the point? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, it's
right,
because of the slave thing, right?
right, because we're mining. Listen, but oh, it gets better. Trust me. So that's what they're saying. So like, yeah, they create us as slaves to like, so this is so if you think about it, the slaves that they created technically I would consider that like the cavemen and all that stuff. Okay, in the beginning when they created it, like the caveman,
Bro,
right? So, um, Enlil. So the ruler of the Igigi, right? The one that they were like hating against, they're like going against him. He got sick and tired. He's like, fuck this, right? Fuck these people. Fuck all this stuff. I'm out. I'm going to Nibiru. But before I go, I'm gonna wipe out this human race. I'm gonna wipe out this human race. This not like these humans with a mass flood.
And that's what happens.
Um, Enki, so the creator of the humans, Enki was like, no, like I don't like that. Like he, in a sense, he's like, I can't stop you from doing this because you're gonna do it. Because what's his name? Enlil told all the other Anunnakis like, do not tell the humans what I'm about to do.
Oh.
But Enki told one person, he's like, this is what's gonna happen. There's gonna be a flood. You need to make an ark, get all the animals together, and you need to like protect, like you need to save yourself in a sense. What does that remind you of?
Clearly, Noah's Ark.
This is written in the tablets.
Bro.
So like in a sense, it's kind of like you're looking at it in a sense of like, okay, we took, like, you got astronomy, our solar system, right? Before the people that we thought taught us got it. 3 million years. You
have the story from the Torah and the Bible about Noah's Ark.
Exactly. And then, so this is what I was gonna say too. Okay, wait, I'll continue with the story real quick. So, and then what happened was that the the ark was made, people survived, we repopulated and everything. Enlil found out, like they found out that like, okay, they're survivors. Let them rule, let them do their thing. We're gonna come back later. Let them do their thing. We'll come back, right? Because apparently this is gonna be in our continuation of this. Because there's another one. There's like they call him like the father of the gods.
Okay.
Anu, I think his name is Anu. And like he came down, was like, okay, enough, leave him alone. You're done. Get out. Whew. And
bro. And
so
now that's why we're stuck on this planet.
Yeah, pretty much. And so okay, and so that's what happened, right? So do you know how we said?
Bro.
Well, not we. Do you know how I said that like every Anunnaki took their own, like took a group of their like humans, and they went to a different country, different place in the earth, and then they started from there.
That's what I was trying to throw, because I had this crazy man.
Think of the Egyptian. Okay, now think of the Egyptians. Okay, Ra, all the like, was it Ra? I can't even think of it right now because I'm so excited. Here. Here.
Who?
You know what? The Egyptian gods. So, Egyptian gods. Okay, Osiris, Isis,
right.
Horus, Ra, Anubis, like all these things. What are they? They're half bird, half human, half wolf, half human.
That's what they always did.
Right? So that's what the Anunnaki did. So what I'm trying to say is pretty much this is what I was trying to say before. Okay, well, that's just okay. We'll just say that's just Egypt. Okay, we'll go somewhere else. We'll go Hindu gods. Okay. Hindu gods. Here, you got Shiva, the one with like 4 arms, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have Hanuman, which is like the half monkey. Right? You have Krishna. You know what I mean? The one with like a bunch of arms, like Kalima, Ganesh, the monkey. I'm not the monkey, the elephant.
Elephant.
So do you know what I mean? So like stuff like that, and then we'll go.
What about in China?
Oh, okay. We'll check China one too.
Dragons.
Dragons. Serpents. Serpents. One sec.
Bro.
Like it's, and then here, watch. This is another one that creeps me out too. So imagine this. Imagine the Greek gods now. Hercules, Zeus, Ares, Neptune. or Poseidon, sorry, the water.
Water. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, and then like Thor, all those ones. You know what I mean? So like,
Right.
what like, that's part of people's history and people's, so, like, people talk about this kind of stuff, right?
It's still part of our history, right? Like
It's still
that's what
part of,
we always look back at, right?
exactly. We reference these people because like we reference them as like mythology and stuff, but it,
We're referencing to gods that used to be here, which answers the question why they knew so much, had so much technology, because there really were people from another planet here, and they left.
and they
And
left.
they left, and we don't have the answer to that, just like we don't have the answer as to why we're here, but that's just what happened, and we're stuck with it right now, right?
Yeah, bro. Like
And
there's,
that thing about sending them to other planets was the biggest, and to other parts of the country was always a big mystery, because how is it that the Aztecs were doing sort of the similar thing that they were doing in Egypt with the pyramids and the
yeah,
schemes and how they drew stuff? They drew similar stuff. Look at the map, bro. You're talking about people in Mexico and people all the way in Egypt. How
yup.
were they doing the same thing?
It's, do
That's
you know what it
something that
is?
nobody ever understands.
It's because apparently the Anunnaki would take people from different places and they would bring them, be like, teach them what we taught you. Apparently
Mm-hmm.
in no, where was it? Bolivia, maybe? Like in
Okay.
the South America, there's a they have a statue of this being. It's like an Anunnaki looking creature, and that's the one that they brought in to teach them.
Huh.
Why? No, no, it looks like a Sumerian person. That's what they say. It looks like a Sumerian person. Like, why would a Sumerian person
Oh,
be? Because they
all the way
brought
in
someone
South
from
America.
Sumer to South America. Brought them, hey, teach them what we taught you.
Bro, what if this thing is all a game, bro, and they left us, they about to come back and see, look at what the hell we did to these humans, how far they've gotten with technology, whatever they did, da da da. And they about to
Listen,
just come out to us, bro.
now listen to this. So they say that. Remember, I told you they created humans. They like modified them and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So apparently, okay, there's studies that show this. Okay, they say that some DNA strands in the human genome are not human in origin. Eight, like a research paper in the National Academy of Sciences says the human genome contains 19 pieces of ancient viral DNA.
Like, what is that? What do they mean by that?
Like, I don't know. Ancient viral. So what there's okay, 8% of human DNA is from viral genetic fragments. What they're pretty much trying to say is that ancient DNA, like okay, the DNA strand that has it's been combined with human genomes that have been passed through generations. So you know that whole thing saying like they kind of tweaked it and like they tweaked us
Mm-hmm.
and like that's what they're saying. All that like that 8% of like the they don't know and that's not human. They're saying what if that's the modifications that people have left and they've passed down through generation.
Bro.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, this is too much, man.
Because think of it, bro. Because
It's
like
crazy.
some craziness. Okay, so here, 1 second. So they're saying that that's what turned the cave people into us functioning human beings. Like how do you go from cave people to us like that?
Right.
You know what I
Because
mean?
they had implanted something in us.
Exactly. They'd implanted something where it's kind of like they gave us that like oh, like that conscious. And that's why remember I told you what if you're just so what if you're in tune with your mind, body, spirit, your consciousness and you can they say if you can do that
Yeah.
you can actually send
Connect.
connect and like that brain waves and like like how I say like the earth is alive. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I sound so fucking crazy, but it's
But it's true though. There's a lot
right.
of truth in that.
Okay, so another thing that I want to say real quick, actually we talked about okay, perfect. So one more thing before we end this because we're almost hitting 3 hours.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, it's going. I love this.
Man, we gotta continue this one.
Yes, yes. I'm definitely gonna have more, and then the next one we can talk more about
The next
specific
one, you could just start it
civilizations.
off with it, bro.
Yeah,
Because we're
next one
gonna
we can talk about
continue off with this one and just like,
exactly. We can talk about different
yeah.
civilizations. Do you know what I mean? And we'll just keep talking. Like we'll learn and like talk about it and stuff. So remember I told you that they created, they brought the Igigi. They brought them here to mine gold, right? Because they're like, we need gold, right?
Right.
And then they made us to mine gold for them also, and we ended up making good workers, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so the reason why is because apparently gold reflects infrared light, all right? And the way our body reacts to infrared light is that it reacts with our molecules, and our molecules will start to vibrate, and that's what creates the heat, right? And so they're saying that gold can like it will take that, right? Will like it'll take it and like it'll like protect you from it in a sense.
Okay.
So it's a good heat shield. So that's why they're kind of using it for their atmosphere, so the heat doesn't destroy it.
Okay.
So there's another gold type of gold called monoatomic gold. All right, it's like a white powder.
Okay.
Right? So there's at this like university or something like that. A scientist did an experiment where he heated the powder in a gas chamber. All right, heated it to like 700-800 degrees Celsius, and then all of a sudden, boom, the powder disappeared. So they thought it just made it invisible. So they wiped the whole thing down. Let me talk right here. They wiped the whole thing down, and they realized it's not there at all.
So it just completely disappeared.
It completely disappeared. They modified the temperature. It reappeared.
No.
So what they're saying is that, remember I told you, like when it reacts, when the infrared reacts with the molecules and everything, it like vibrates.
Yeah.
So what they're saying that because it hit a certain temperature, it like
went
into
a different.
No, like the gold that
I know the gold itself. I thought you were trying to connect it to them.
Oh yeah. No, I'm saying based on like the report saying. So the guy was saying that like the gold disappeared because it got hit such a heat and like a wavelength. Yeah. It went into a different dimension. And because it was back, because like the temperature was back, it came back.
Bro.
So, and do you remember how I was saying about that that portal?
Yeah.
That whatever. What if that's what it is? They have the heat thing, like the gold.
They know how to play with that.
Exactly. So so they didn't care so much about they cared about both kinds of gold, like the gold bricks, but I think they cared more about the gold dust.
Gold, and then maybe the gold that they cared about.
Exactly. So if you think about it like this too, as humans, like when they made the humans, you would think that to mine gold, you would think that'd be like, okay, we're gonna make you want, like if you want gold, you're gonna look for it really good, right? Mm-hmm. Like training a dog, like you give him something to sniff, it's like, oh, that's what I look.
Yeah.
And you see how important gold is to how to people. Right. I need gold chain, gold earring. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? Right. So, do you think that's what kind of gave our like lust, that thirst for gold type thing? Obviously, some people, like I'm not much of a gold person. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
But you do see it in
there's
people.
Something to it.
You know what I mean? There's cultures that gold is everything. Egyptians, when they bury the pharaoh and everything, all the gold.
Them in gold, right?
Them. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man.
I went kind of far, and I was thinking about that dust. Like, what if they had enough of it because they needed to collect as much as they can, because that's how they set themselves up to actually have that portal.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, I'll give you one more little quick little conspiracy theory, and then we'll wrap this up. Okay. So do you know how America said that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction?
Okay.
That's why they need to go into Iraq and get all this stuff.
You think they're looking for that instead?
Hey man, they've been watching these aliens and looking up all this shit, and like they've been hiding all this stuff. They never found those weapons of mass destruction. You know what I mean? We thought nukes, right?
Right.
And they have nukes. Nothing. Iran has nukes. All these guys have nukes. Do you know what I mean? And what the theory is pretty much like, what if they maybe found the portal, or like what if they found something important to like connecting something like that? And
Right.
it was funny because they're saying like, what if like Saddam found it, right? And then he fucked around,
Mm,
and the Mandela effect happened. You know, what if you can fuck around with it and Mandela effects happens?
yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, obviously that's a completely crazy theory. Um, but yeah, man, can you imagine?
Nothing is crazy
Anything's possible, bro. Kevin
because
Garnett
anything is
said.
possible. Well,
Oh my
instead
god,
Kevin Garnett, I'm just saying there is
bro.
something that map that they showed on Joe Rogan's podcast when he had that Graham Hancock and that other dude that actually studies like biology and the actual like physics of the planet.
Yeah, yeah,
Why was there that big spike of water and then it went back down?
yeah.
And right after that down period, the first civilizations that we know of were around. We don't know what was before that because he said a big body of water to damage the planet like that.
Yeah,
Anything could have happened. All that could have been
exactly.
gone. Like he said, if that same effect, if that same thing would have happened to us right now,
Mm-hmm.
the structures that we have, the buildings that we have, we don't write stuff into rocks like how they did before. We have it on paper and
Yep,
in like memory cards and stuff like that. Nobody would even know that we existed
exactly.
if they're because like the new people will have to come back around and then figure out their own thing, their own way. Like maybe they were already rising, which is why they were so smart. Like you see
Yeah,
how we're feeling like, wow, we're getting smarter, our technology, Elon Musk, we're like
yeah,
figuring out all these things.
yeah,
What if they were already up to that trajectory, but because of that big flood or whatever, then they
yeah.
got erased and we started again?
Yep, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I just feel like yeah, we're going up, but it's a downgrade of where we were.
But yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like you were able to
To
make
us, it's
these
amazing, but it's
amazing.
like,
Exactly. Like if you think because like they were able to make all. By the way, there's a theory on how they made it, and we'll talk about it next episode. But
yeah,
like
yeah,
they talk about like all these pyramids they made and all that stuff, all these buildings. I was like,
right,
it's impossible to make now. You can't even make another pyramid now.
right.
Do you know what I mean?
That's
So
the craziest thing that like nobody has an answer to. We're just we're like sort of leaving it be in the way because it's like it's really so hard to find an answer. So like why?
exactly.
You know, like why is it so hard?
It might be too hard to accept the truth, and it's too scary, bro. Because that shit, oh, it scares the shit out of me.
It is very creepy. I'm telling you.
All right, man. We've hit
We
almost
gotta
3 hours.
continue this. Yeah,
Oh, we
we're gonna
definitely gotta
continue
continue this,
this
man.
next.
I gotta get to. I'm looking at my wrist like I have a football
Yeah,
match, but I gotta get to dinner at Rochelle's mom's house. So,
yeah, we gotta go.
all right, homie.
We
It
gotta
was nice
get
talking
going.
to you,
Yeah,
man.
bro. Yeah, for sure.
I'll actually message you while I'm at dinner too. We'll just talk
Okay.
about just random stuff. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, man. Next Sunday,
Okay,
you
bro.
good? Oh
Yes,
wait,
sir. We
next
have to
Sunday.
do it
Well, next Sunday, yes.
whenever.
Next Sunday, yes. Next Sunday,
We'll
yes.
talk about it.
Yeah. The Sunday after
Okay,
that, I
bro.
can't.
I got you. We'll
All right,
figure it
homie.
out.
It's nice seeing you again.
Let's
Talk to you
go.
soon.
Great talk.
All right, peace, homie.
Peace, bro.
Bye.